Go Blue. Go Blue. Yes, congratulations to the national champions. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lloyd, Commissioner Winfrey, Commissioner Getzinger, Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Avery,
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker, Commissioner Kuznow, Commissioner Wayhill,
I'm here.
and Commissioner Fleury.
Present.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we'll entertain public comments to the committee. Are there any public comments to the committee? Step right up. Please state your name and your city of residence, please.
My name is Ryan Laree from Swartz Creek, Michigan.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, County Commissioners, and thank you for having me tonight. My name is Ryan Laree. I'm here because I'm deeply in the power. Thank you. My name is Ryan Laree, and I'm here because I believe deeply in the power of community and responsibility we have to invest in it. My path hasn't been conventional. I faced real challenges, and I've had to step through those. But those experiences didn't break me. They built me. They taught me discipline, accountability, and how to lead, both strength and empathy. Professionally, I've taken on leadership roles where results mattered. I've managed responsibilities, worked through complex problems, and followed through on commitments. I understand what it means to be entrusted in something that serves others, and I take that seriously. But beyond experience, this is personal for me. Parks and recreations are where life happens. They are where kids find confidence, where families reconnect, and where communities rebuild trust with one another. That's why I care about doing this right. Genesee County deserves parks that are safe, clean, and accessible. It deserves programs that actually reach people and make a difference. And it deserves leadership that shows up, listens, and follows through. If given this opportunity to serve, I will bring not just experience, but intention. I will lead with clarity, work, purpose, and make decisions that reflect the people that the system is meant to serve. Thank you for your time and opportunity to be considered for this position.
Thank you, Ryan. Any other public comments? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name, city of residence, and you have 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Brandy Pirtle, and I'm a resident of Genesee County. Nice to see you again. Do you remember the oath that you took to support the Constitution of the United States and of Michigan and to faithfully carry out your duties? The resolution you have does not ask you to go beyond that oath. It asks you to follow it. Your job is to directly follow the Constitution, not current orders which do not supersede this document. The distinctions in this resolution have been made clear. It does not interfere with federal criminal enforcement. It does not rewrite federal law. Your legal counsel stated there was a pending Supreme Court case regarding administrative warrants. There is not nor reason to delay. This is about your choice with county resources, property, staff, and responsibility. This has been clarified. I have explained what it does not do, and at this point, there's no lack of opportunity to understand it. What you have is had the time to read it, ask questions, raise legal concerns, and hear the answers. You've seen it revised in response, and you've been given everything that you need to act. So if there's still confusion, we need to be honest about what that means, because the Constitution has not changed. Due process has not disappeared, but what has changed is how those protections are being applied. We're seeing people placed into immigration detention without a guaranteed opportunity to go before a judge and challenge whether their detention is even lawful. People once had that chance may never get it now, and that should alarm you. When this board claims to be unaware of ICE activity in this county, that doesn't reflect reality, it reflects privilege. I've spoken with residents who are afraid to leave their homes just to get groceries, families, workers, people who are part of this community. Their fear is real, and it is here. If that does not move this board to act after all the explanations and opportunities to understand, then this is not confusion, it's a choice. A choice not to act and not to set protections, not to use your authority when it is clearly within your power to do so, to leave this community exposed. And we see that. We see every delay dressed up as uncertainty, every excuse dressed up as caution, and when we see what happens when elected officials are given a clear path and do not choose to move. This resolution asks you to do one thing that is your job, not later when it's easier, not when it's politically comfortable. Now, your position does not guarantee you anything permanent, but you can provide something permanent and protection for the people that you serve. You are here to do a job for the people of Genesee County, and your job is not to hide behind confusion after every question has been answered. Your job is to wait, not wait until harm reaches this community. So the question tonight is simple. Will you uphold the Constitution you swore to support aside from moral reasoning? If you choose not to act, the public will understand where this board stands when we vote. Staying silent in times of uncertainty is a privilege that many in this community will never have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there additional public comments? Please state your name and city of residence.
I'm Kenneth Firstel. I'm from Mundy Township in the 4th District.
Hi, Kenneth.
Hello. Thanks for your call earlier today. I put myself forward for consideration for the Parks Board. I'm a proud graduate of Michigan State University. Go Green. Had a great last month or so for that. I also hold a master's degree in public policy and a master's degree in political science from Wayne State. For the past 8 years, I've been a college-level educator, and that's sort of the way I see myself, and what I hope to bring is use of the parks as an educational resource for the public. So,
Okay. Thank you, Kenneth.
thank you for your consideration.
Any other public comments? Going once? Oh, here comes Mr. Young. Please state your name and city of residence.
Good evening. My name is Chad Young. I live in Mundy Township. Before I begin, just thank you, commissioners, for the work that you do on behalf of the residents and communities of this county. I'm here tonight. I'm also happen to be the township manager for Mundy Township. I'm here tonight in that capacity as administrator for this organization to address your new business item number 6, which happens to be a budget increase request for the Mundy Township Senior and Enrichment Center. We're proud of the work that the Senior and Enrichment Center has put in since its founding less than 4 years ago. The center has presently been funded to a level 2 senior center level, and approximately 1 month ago achieved our 1,000th unique visitor, meeting the criteria for level 3 funding. My ask tonight is for you to please support our continued work there as a proud senior services millage funded center by approving this increase to the level 3 funding by way of us meeting that criteria and being eligible. And I thank you in advance for that support.
Thank you, Chad. Any other public comments to the committee? Other public comments to the committee? Going once? Go. Oh. We.
Well,
Please.
guys, I just want to say that if at all possible, I don't want my tax dollars to fund anything that goes towards ICE. And I want to abolish ICE. I think if you took a poll of most people in this county, I think that would be a pretty popular position, honestly.
Sir, can you state your name and your city of residence, please?
Hi, my name is Nicholas Halabicki, and I live in Burton.
Thank you.
I want ICE out of Genesee County. That's what I want. That's about all I have to say.
Thank you so much. Other public comments? Okay. Once, twice. Public comments are now closed. All right, we have communications. I do think we have a couple of international visitors that our chair would like to acknowledge.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Jessica, would you and our guest mind stepping up, and we'll introduce you. So Jessica Esperanza is faculty member at Mott Community College, and we have 2 what are known as Humphrey Scholars, and she'll, I think, explain a little bit about what the Humphrey Scholar is, if you would, and then I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. They're here tonight because not only do I work at Mott College, but I was at our Culinary Institute on Monday for lunch, and I encountered them with another faculty member who introduced me. Both of them are interested in public service and public policy and have some background. So if you could describe what the program is and why they're the 2 of you could take a minute to introduce yourselves. We're happy to have you in our community. I think it's just for a very short term. We pride ourselves on being an inclusive, welcoming Genesee County. So welcome to our community, and Jessica, please let us know about the program.
Thank you so much for having us. So the Humphrey Scholar Program is a very prestigious program that is an offshoot of Fulbright, and it's sponsored by the Department of State as well as the Institute for International Education, and it does an extensive search for the top change makers in different countries. And so it's a rigorous application process, and the candidates who are selected for this program are the ones who are leading change on the ground in their countries. And so they, once they're chosen for the Humphrey program, they get partnered with a particular university depending on their background. Before us today, and I'll let them tell you a little bit about themselves, but we have 2 scholars who are currently working right now at MIT and Syracuse. And so during their Humphrey time, they're working on projects and able to take classes and expand their leadership skills, among other things. And one of the other things that they get to do is partner with community colleges. And 15 community colleges across the nation were chosen to host Humphrey Scholars, and Mott was selected to host 2, and 2 of the best, I would say. So we have tonight Edmund and Susanna, and I'll let them tell you a little bit about themselves and their background.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for having us here today. My name is Edmund Lloyd. I'm an architect and urban planner from Monrovia, Liberia. Liberia is located in West Africa. So back home, I work as a land use planner and director for zoning. And our city has experienced a very long 14-year civil crisis, which ended in 2003. And we have been trying to redevelop the city. So my journey to Flint here has just resonated the kind of struggles that we go through as a country, and the depopulation of Flint, and how the city government is working to revitalize and redevelop the city. And I've seen a lot of things have resonated with me here, so I'm glad that I'm here. So I'm at MIT as a research fellow. So as a research fellow at MIT, I'm researching different land use policies, development controls that different cities around the US are implementing, so that I will learn lessons that will be implemented back into our home countries. So I'm glad that you have us here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. I miss to speak like this because I'm a politician back home, and my name is Susanna. I'm from Armenia. Now currently I'm studying at Maxwell School in Syracuse University. So I have a seat in City Council, and I'm a president of the faction from my party. And now I'm running for the National Parliament as a candidate. So my expertise is related to community development. I am an expert on local self-government in Armenia, and I have worked with 2 ministries in Armenia, and my main job was related to community development, especially youth and women participation in decision-making processes. So right now I do research about public and private partnership, HR management in public administration, and I have read very nice and interesting book which is about Detroit. It's Embracing the City, so I know a lot of things about this Detroit case and what's going here and what's happened. That's why I choose to come here. But also there is another reason that I have found that we do have huge community in this state, and we do have like 80,000 Armenians living in this state. So it's an honor to be here and to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll mention for Edmund and Susanna that we do have jobs available at Genesee County. If you are interested in applying, we'd love to keep you here or come back. Thank you,
have
Jessica.
just jumped right in. We actually just got back from doing some volunteer work, and they've just fallen in love with Flint. So.
Okay, thank you for being with us tonight. And I'll just say as I end this, Madam Chair, thank you for your indulgence, but there are over 1,000 community colleges in this country, and our local community college, Mott, is one of 15 to host Humphrey Scholars from abroad. So that's an honor for us in this community. So thanks again for coming, and thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Thank you. Ms. Director of Administration, is there a report from you? Okay, all right. Well, next we have a presentation, actually, on the Flint Ignition Innovation District. And I want to preface this by saying I first met Ed Kim in November of last year through Dr. Christopher Pearson, who's the Dean of the College of Innovation and Technology at the University of Michigan Flint. And that was when Ed introduced us to an innovative idea to create value in Genesee County with a focus here in downtown Flint. Since that time, I've shared a snapshot of the proposal with my colleagues around the table and invited our Vice Chair of Community and Economic Development, Commissioner Shoemaker, to join me at a January 22nd event that was sponsored by the Center for Innovation at U of M Flint. And despite the fact that there was a major snowstorm that day, Commissioner Shoemaker and I attended the event where we met engineering students, we met faculty members, and we met employers who were really hungry for talent. After having additional conversations with Ed, Chris, and Chancellor Alexander, I thought it was time for us to have a full committee hearing about this concept. So allow me to introduce you to the chief architect of this project. Ed Kim is a business leader who operates at the rare intersection of industry, innovation, and investment. Ed isn't just an advisor, he is a practitioner who has spent his career connecting these fields in practice, not in theory, right here in our region. As the co-owner of a defense and aerospace manufacturing firm, recognized as a top 25 strategic supplier by a global defense prime, Ed knows exactly what it takes for a Genesee County manufacturer to win federal contracts. As general partner of Side Door Ventures, Michigan, he manages a state-backed fund anchored by a $9.8 million MEDC commitment. And at U of M Flint, he serves as a professor of practice, bridging the gap between the classroom and the commercial market. Most importantly, Ed is the architect of Genesee Ignition Innovation District. When the MEDC evaluated this proposal against every regional program in Michigan, they awarded it the highest score over 130 plus proposals. The only new program selected over established initiatives with years of history. Ed brings the unique hands-on experience necessary to successfully lead this program for Genesee County. So what is this program? I give you Professor Ed Kim, who will tell us all about it. Ed?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brown, for your introduction. I'll keep my introduction very brief because we have a lot to cover. The main idea I want to start this presentation is the fact that I've been on the manufacturing floor. I started my company from very ground up. I worked for Ford Motor Company and worked with the large OEMs. So I do have an automotive background, working and hitting the ground with all the grit I had. And also, I've been an investor as well, and I've been part of the Michigan's ecosystem and entrepreneurship program for the last 10 years, working closely with MEDC as well as the greater Detroit metro area. So with that in mind, I thank my team, which includes Dr. Chris Pearson, the Dean of University of Michigan College of Innovation and Technology. We built a program I think you'll be very proud of, and asking for your support. One thing I want you to do is that I want you to look at this building for a moment. And it's a 328 Saginaw Street. You walk by it, right? You park near it, I'm sure, right? And maybe you go into banking in the building at Huntington Bank. Some of you probably never thought much about it, but it is a building which is right next to you. This particular building, I want you to imagine now that something different. I want you to imagine the second and third floor of this building lit up at night, having foot traffic of students and entrepreneurs, regional SMEs going in there to work with the faculty members and some of the corporate partners that resided as a satellite office, and developing mission-critical skills, not only from the worker training perspective, but the corporate design curriculums that meets their unique needs. So starting with the problem first. Now with the U of M Flint CIT faculty or graduates who decide to start a company, they may have a place to stay instead of going to Ann Arbor. And they want to stay here. Think about that. Right. So we're a defense contractor like myself. once you're a tenant here, because we just happen to have a joint development the project, developing a new manufacturing process for the aerospace industry. Where can I go? Where can they go? Think about that as a building, right? So that building is an anchor of what I'm going to describe to you today, and here's what makes it unusual. It is right next to, right in the middle of downtown Flint, right across the street from the campus, very close to Kettering, and very close to Mott Community College. So, you see these logos, they are not aspirational logos. These are organizations that already have committed to participate in this program. As a matter of fact, there are some logos I cannot show you right now because they are waiting, such as Apple, Google, and Siemens. They're waiting for this to launch and to be a part of this program. So, obviously, Leo Corporation, one of the largest automotive suppliers in the world. I worked closely with them when I worked at Ford and GM, right? And they want to co-develop a joint curriculum because they are all in on automation. They want to provide the internship pathway. For Nuke America, they're developing AI, integrated AI robotic solutions, which you don't even see on the factory floor around here, but it's coming. They have a digital twin technology they want to teach and show people, right? And they signed that as a co-curriculum developers, as well as the possible internship pathways. Accenture. We have a CTO of Accenture, and the Accenture, those of you who don't know, is the largest technology company in the world. They have 850,000 employees, and Dan Garrison, who's their chief technology officer, works with us weekly because he believes in this program. He leads the AI and the quantum computing strategy for Accenture, as well as a digital transformation, over 1,000 Fortune 1000 Fortune companies as well. And MEDC, the state of Michigan's economic development body, has already committed over $400,000 to this program. Okay. It's not a courtesy. It was a competitive process, and it's our external validation of what we're presenting today. So these names on the building are not a pitch. These are proof. Because as Dr. Brown said earlier, in the middle of a snowstorm, we have over 30 companies represented and 130 people showing up, right? Because they wanted, this is needed. So their commitments are already made, and there are a few logos waiting to be added, as I mentioned earlier, which I won't say it again. So they are waiting for us to launch the county decision of whether to complete the coalition, not whether to start one. So I want to be very honest with you. When I tried to, I'm new to the Flint area as of 3 years ago. So my history here is short, but very impactful, in my opinion. So I want to be honest with you about what is happening in this county right now. And this may not be new to you because you live here, you have a history here. But but because you deserve to make this decision with clear eyes of how I see it and how the world sees it. So I'm sure you know this better than anyone else, but the Genesee County ranks in the bottom quarter of Michigan counties for innovation activity. Less than 14% of early stage companies have reached their first revenue. This is less than half of state average. There are between $12 and $20 million in federal defense and R&D contracts available to companies with exactly same capabilities that other companies in the different regions in Michigan, states like Ohio, Illinois, South Carolina, Alabama. And how do I know that? Because I live it every day. Right? So, and 4 in 10 manufacturing jobs in this country are at automation risk within 5 years. This is not a stat, this is what the leader is telling me. So those numbers are not a crisis that is coming, they are a crisis that is already here. So as an industry practitioner, I see it every day. Not only at my company, but also College of Engineering as well, trying to train the students. The question is not whether Genesee County has a problem. The question is whether it has has a program designed to address it, or whether it keeps watching this window close. And this is what the Genesee Ignition Innovation District is about. So I know you're thinking, because I've been working in this innovation ecosystem at State of Michigan for about 10 years. Worked with some smart zones as an advisor, worked with every research institution and tech transfer office in State of Michigan. As I said, I'm a venture capitalist, so I understand the E&I program, startup activities very well. But I've been in the room before, so it wouldn't surprise me you are thinking that we've seen this before. We funded these things, sound like this, and it never materialized the results that you thought about getting. And you're right. I've been in this, as I said, 10 years watching this. So that gave me an insight, and us as a team, it gave insight what works well and what did not. So we did design, we designed this program by studying what did not work, right? So Smart Zones and Innovation Program focuses on the and awards activities, events, workshops, memberships. It did not produce sustainable jobs or revenue. When the university priorities, especially if it's a program that's affiliated with the universities, when the university priority changes, because sometimes the leadership changes their mind. I was supporting the Wayne State University for 4 years and raised about $7.5 million. But during the time, the university had 3 president chancellor changes and 2 provost changes. So what we started ended up with nothing like what we launched, right? So the other problem was that the programs are led by very well-meaning directors, but that did not have enough background, experience, or network to make the right connections in time to make it sustainable. So every structural choice in the proposal is a direct response to one of these failure modes. The entities are legally independent of every university. The board seat is contractual. The county can't be removed without 75% supermajority because it was very important to us to make sure that county has a governing authority as part of the program management. And that is very unique to any program in the state of Michigan. Right? The money only released only when outcomes are documented, not when events are held. We're not asking for money to fund everything. We are coming with the matching funds and already secure funds. Okay. When people are trained and have access to opportunities and combined, make tangible progress, and we are very outcome-driven design program. So now Genesee Ignition District is a little different in a way. It's a hub and spokes model. Okay. Right now, the district hub will be the next door to the Genesee County building. The downtown hub at 328 Saginaw operates on business time. One of the key design factors of this program was that it was very important the program runs on the speed of business. Not academic calendar, no faculty commitment of committee approvals. When a defense contractor needs a compliance framework in 6 weeks, my gosh darn it, we're gonna make it happen in 6 weeks. Right? That is the anchor, the place where industry actually engages because it operates like an industry partner. The U of M Flint CIT, College of Innovation and Technology, and the new building, ITCX, gives our manufacturers and companies, SMEs, a place to access the smart manufacturing technology, digital twins, cybersecurity testing, bench testing, chemical engineering, chemical testing. That would cost millions to own. A 40-person precision machine shop that's trying to address the issue to get a contract from the aerospace engineering project, they don't have the capital to do so, nor the capacity and the knowledge. Right? We make it available on a program subscription, and that is what turns the Genesee County manufacturers into a credible defense and aerospace supply chain competitor. Now, on the catering brings applied engineering and faculty with active ITAR compliance. Oops, sorry about that. Right. And the AS 9100 expertise. As you know, that without ITAR and the AS 9100, you cannot compete for contracts. So, and the another thing that we like about the catering is the fact that they are very versed in the co-op training program and the relationship. We want to benchmark the heck out of it. Right. So together, this model gives this program capabilities that no single site program can match. So let me be very direct about what you're voting and for and what is not. So it is not an equity investment. It is not county does not hold an ownership stake in the L3C, low profit company. It is not a loan. It is a restricted program grant, and with the restrictions that matters to the benefit of a county. So every dollar released only when a specific verifiable outcome is documented. There's a 4-stage case. And in the detail of the proposal, that's be outlined very much in detail. The county representative sitting on this board votes on every budget before it is adopted. The county's board seat cannot be removed without 75% supermajority. And Weatherby LLC, which is a building owner, who are the first investor which are hopped on this bandwagon, would be matching up to $750,000 for the build-out. Through the historic tax credits or opportunity zone financing and their private capital. Dollar for dollar up to $750 that you'll be contributing. The county is not paying for the building. It is paying for what no other instrument in this finance stack can fund. The organization will stand up, launch the mission critical workforce development, and from the perspective of we are very focused on talking to the industry partners and corporations first before we start designing a training program, which I think that would avoid us providing augmenting the already existing training programs in different colleges, community colleges, and other areas. And the one other thing that we're trying to push in this program is that one of the key metric is having the measurable, the pilot programs with the customers or the corporations that makes the program run. The physical building is already being funded by someone else. What you are authorizing today is a program inside of it. So here's the capital stack this program has assembled before the county has committed $1 to this program. MEDC has confirmed the $400,000 through the Michigan Innovation Fund. NSF, National Science Foundation, has awarded $3.8 million, largest grant that the University of Michigan Fund has ever received for the industry engagement and the strategic partnership, just like what we're describing here today. And also Weatherby has executed a letter of intent committing up to $750,000 of a matching. And we have a list, we have over 12 letters of support from the Lear, Fanuc, obviously U of M, Flint, GSA Michigan Works, Accenture. So the county's $750,000 activates a confirmed 7-to-1 public leverage ratio, which means that every dollar you put in, we're going to leverage this. This will activate $7 for the next 2 years. Just think about that. Okay. The Community Foundation of Greater Flint will explore its role as a fiduciary sponsor to support the new L3C. And we purposely picked the L3C model rather than not-for-profit because it gives us a couple of things it gives us. One of which is that the L3C can be launched right now. As a matter of fact, it is already formed, but it takes 2-3 days. Not-for-profit 501(c) takes about 7-8 months and over $7,000 form. It took us $50 to launch L3C. That's one. And the second thing is the fact that the L3C provides all the benefits of a not-for-profit, being able to access the PRI funding, grant funding, and whatnot. And we can also take in a private capital. So the main mission of L3C is for the benefit of society, and it's a very low profit model. So making money is a secondary, but it does provide opportunity for private invest directly into a company. So I want to say one more thing about the MEDC award. They evaluated every regional innovation program in Michigan, and there's over 130 applicants. And as you know about these kind of funding opportunities, a lot of times that most of the funds are already allocated, right? So they looked at our program. They looked at their programs and with operating histories. So for example, like tech towns and whatnot, they spend $1 million already. Even with that in mind, they selected us as the only brand new program during the RFP access during the competition. We were told that we're scored the number 1 out of 130 plus applicants. So there was a validation from the third-party validation for MEDC. So I want to make sure that you know that, because that is not a courtesy they gave us, right? That is judgment, and I believe that this board should weigh that in as you make decisions. So let me show you what the next 24 months will look like if you authorize this today. Month 1 and 2, we're going to execute a lease at 328 Saginaw. The county board seat is formally appointed. Weatherball begins the build-out. The first tranche release is going to happen when the lease is signed and the bank account is established. And month 3, all 3 tracks open. Manufacturers enroll in the SME innovation track. The startup cohort begins. By the way, we already have 2 startups waiting to be a tenant in that building. And third is that the workforce cohort, 1 recruiting starts. So month 8, the 75 Genesee County residents will be in active training seats. And the tranche 2 release only when that is verified by the board. The month 10, the 4 pilot programs are running. At least 1 will be located entirely within Genesee County. Whether it's a new innovation or the new contract, a proof of concept work and R&D work and whatnot. Month 20, the board adopts a year 3 sustainability plan projecting minimum of $200,000 in annual earned revenue beyond year 2. The county's own representative votes on that plan before the tranche 4 releases. Okay. By month 24, the program pays for more of itself every year. That is what sustainability looks like, not a promise, but a contractual gate. So I want to come back to this building one more time. I'm going to be very honest with you. The first thing I saw when I came to Flint 3 years ago, 3 years ago, that's the first thing I noticed. I don't know why. I loved it. It might be the big giant ball sitting on top of the building, but I loved it. So everything you've seen the last few minutes, the corporate partnerships, coalition commitment, the state award, the 7-to-1 leverage ratio, and the workforce readiness and the governance rights for the state, county, all of it is waiting for one decision in this room. So the entity is formed, the building owner has matched the investment, MEDC is committed, Leo and Fanuc has signed letter of support, U of M Flint CIT and Kettering has confirmed these resources, the community foundation is at the table. What I'm asking you to do, authorize today is not a bet on a concept. It is a local confirmation that makes a coalition already assembled around Genesee County's economic future operational. You have 3 decisions today. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 decisions, not just today. The first costs nothing, which is today. The second costs staff time. The third is the investment, $750,000 over 2 fiscal years, returning a minimum of 7-to-1 confirmed public resource, with a voting seat at every table. So the window in which the coalition holds together is not indefinite, including the investments. But today it is open. Thank you, and I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you, Ed. All right, commissioners, what questions do you have for Ed? Anything?
Not at this time. You know, I know you sent me the presentation a while ago, you know, and I haven't had a chance to read it, so I at least need to sit down and read that before I even feel qualified to comment at this point in time.
Okay. Yes, there is a detailed, I think, 6-page presentation that Ed sent to us that I can share with all of you, and you can take time to reflect on it a little bit more. I know, I think Commissioner Winfrey, you had a question about the number of board seats.
Yeah, how many will actually be on the board? And how many Genesee County, if we went with this, how many Genesee County
Great.
Commissioners or employees would be allowed?
Yeah. So we are thinking 5 to 7, depends on the participants. So definitely one board seat with the governing rights, it would be allocated for the county. We believe that the county foundation, Dan Kyoto's office, would be one of the board members if they decide to go in with us. Not if, when. And one of the board members would be me. And we are looking to do 2 or 3 in the industry, corporate partners. And we'll be mix of regional and the national is what we're thinking at this point, the board makeup. Because I think it's very important that we have the board that has the 1 foot in how world is going, how fast the world is changing. And it's very important that the training we provide reflects that next 5 to 10 years of what the workforce is going to look like. Right, so it'll be a combination of county, foundation, and the corporate partners.
Are there any other questions at the moment?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
It's not so much a question for our presenter, but thank you for being here. As I understand it, the ask is $750,000, is that right?
Yep.
I don't know who can answer this, but where would we find that within the county's budget? Mr. Cousineau? Finance Chair Cousineau?
May I,
Go
may I
ahead.
say one thing? Just want to make sure that the money we're requesting is based on the 4 stage gates. So it will be, 750 will be dispersed over next 2 years.
Okay.
So I just want to make
So
sure.
3 multi-year commitment, 3 years?
2 years.
2 years, total of $750,000. Okay, thank you.
You know, I've had a few conversations with some of my colleagues, and, you know, we have many requests. And, you know, we're in a position where we can choose which direction we want to go. We can't do everything. There's a lot of pressure from a lot of different directions, you know, but I think that at some point in time, very quickly, before we go into the budget season, which I shouldn't say it that way because we already are, we need to sit down in one of our workshops and make some of these decisions, which way to go. And how to do that. I know we had a little bit of a conversation in just minutes before we come out here. But, you know, it's 700,000 over, you said 3 years?
2 years.
2 years, so, okay. Not quite 400,000 a year. I mean, that's, in the greater scheme of things, you know, that's not a lot. But yet, we have a lot on our plate. And we only have so much that we can give. And, you know, you said it in early on in your presentation, you know, you're probably thinking about, you know, you've done so many different things and nothing has worked out. And that's kind of how I look at, that was my thought exactly. And you said it. You know, we've, this board and other things I've done outside of this board, it's like over the last 20 years, we've thrown so much mud up against the wall. I haven't seen anything stick, although I am starting to see some activity economically in the county for the first time in all those years. And this same speech is gonna go over into another topic that we're gonna talk about in a little bit about healthcare too. You know, we're just spending tremendous amounts of money. Our public is very generous to us. But we need to see results. And, you know, I need to see data. And you mentioned that in your presentation. I have to see data that things work. You know, because there's so much that this government does. We just do it, and then we just wing in a prayer, we hope something works. But, you know, we have to see data results.
So you have a choice. You absolutely have a choice. As I mentioned earlier, and I've seen, just like you, I've seen it. And I'm an industry guy. I'm a practitioner. I've been an advisor to these programs. I've been investor to the startups and some of these companies as well, and I've been a practitioner as someone who's trying to get the service from these organizations. So as I mentioned earlier, we made a very conscious decision to not be that, which is why this is designed and this is innovative in 3 ways that we wanted to overcome that the failure mode that the other programs that we received. Number 1, we're not coming here for you to subsidize, asking for money to fund the entire program. We're bringing matching, and we're bringing a force multiplier is what I call it. Your dollar is going to give benefits to the community 7 times. Second thing is the fact that we're very corporate and market leaning, which means the fact that we're not asking for $750 up front, and it's very stage gated. There are 4 milestones we have to hit to access. So I can stand here all day and ask somebody give me data, we'll do something about it. That's fair. That's very fair. But the world I live in it's about the reiteration and hitting the milestones. You're gonna find out pretty quickly we're not doing our job. So there'll be 4 milestones, and that's why instead of saying $750,000, we're saying here's the dollar budget. You approve that every stage gate we hit, right? So you have plenty of time and the visibility and access to the performance of this program. So exactly what I wanted to avoid was all this, exactly what you described. This is not the world of Field of Dream model has ended a long time ago, right? It's about the reiterating, fast sprint to it, prove it, and you build on it. That's how we do it. And that's why going back to Dr. Brown said, that's a model, that's why we are able to attract so many companies. And now having said that, it's not a model that a legacy industry is comfortable with, but the point is that's exactly why we have to do it. The world has changed, folks. We don't make decisions like we used to, right? So to address your point, what I asked you is that give me an opportunity to give the data. It's a stage gated. I'm not asking you to judge me in 2 years from now. Judge me in 3 months. Right? It's a plan, it's a design into the program. And if it doesn't work, there will be a clause where that you can reallocate the assets of L3 City to wherever you want to allocate it to. So proof is really in terms of the people or corporation that are waiting for this happen here, because they're going to go somewhere else. Startups that's coming out of University of Michigan, Flint, they're not going to wait for whatever, because they can go to Ann Arbor and down Detroit. Heck, they go to California, right? Because some of the technology with emerging tech that we'll be focusing on, it's not the old legacy tool and die fixture kind of fab skills. It's a digital twin skills. It's about having the aerospace quality precision machining skills. And it's about the robotic, AI-driven robotics. So as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, is we designed it in a way to address exact concern that you have. You find out that fraction of time that it's gonna work on that. Your investment is about 750,000. Your investment is the first tranche, second tranche. And you're gonna see it and you'll find out that the increase in value of the building, corporate is gonna be a tenants there, increase the tax revenue, the foot traffic, and the fact that the satellite, the corporate office expertise placed in that building is going to recover the $750,000, I believe, fairly quickly.
Ed, one of the questions that I had too was about the student, the value proposition for students. And of course, we're facing the danger of losing population here in Genesee County.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the value proposition for students and hopefully creating something that would encourage them to stay here in Genesee County.
Yes. So the design concept of this district was always from the perspective, as I was, when Chris and I were having this conversation, was that we don't want to create a program to create a program. For a couple of reasons. Number one, for me, until I came here, visited Chris and you and Flint, I have very different perception of Flint. When I came here, it was not even close. I enjoyed it, I loved it, I liked it. Which means that the traditional model of, okay, let's put something here and build and people will show up. I'm not sure other programs have tried it. 100K, Ferris wheel, I can go on, and not just here, but other places. So one of the key theme of when we designed it was we want this district to be a center of gravity. So it all starts from the value proposition of what would attract corporate entity to come here, spend time with our faculty, students, workers, and the regional SMEs. What would that be? So our focus was second focus was on the emerging tech. Next 5 years of how the industry work is going to be very different. And it's happening right now, as I mentioned earlier. So those students, even precision engineering and precision machining, how they do is completely different. If you ever seen a virtual twins and how it simulates how block of steel gets carved out before you even touch the machine, right? And the AI, and one thing I like to brag about Chris, Dr. Pearson, is the fact that did you know the U of M Flint CIT has a best cybersecurity program in the state of Michigan? That building, I'm hoping, is that when Community Foundation and the security sees it, have affordable housing in there for graduate students and faculty that Chris is recruiting right now, instead of going to Grand Blanc. Right. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a startup. They beat out Ann Arbor because they were trying to recruit all these AI startups, and they decided to stay here. So I think that's how you attract it. You have to make it in a way, what the center of gravity means, having a value proposition of access to technology that can learn, access to applications, the companies that's in the region, they want to work on these cool projects. And the third thing is that attracting those companies, corporations, I call them signature logos, Apple, Siemens, Lear's, Accenture's, start hanging around here. And what I can envision is that I'd love to see a Google logo right in front of above the Huntington Bank. I think that's how you keep the students.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner Getzinger.
Yes, sir.
What do you envision as like the startup time for all of this?
We have already started.
Okay.
We don't, it's about the velocity. So that's why I'm saying that we're not asking you to support the startup. We're asking you so we can scale it. So what Dr. Brown and Mr. Shoemaker saw was what I call a proof of concept. And the message, that does a message compelling enough for these people to show up? My goodness, we have a chief technology officer of Accenture spending time with us. He's responsible for $17 billion. There's a reason. He's not doing it for favor, right? But he sees the AI, he says cybersecurity. So we have started. That's why that we are going to run this as an industry partner to those companies. We are not program managers or administrators. We're practitioners, and we're outcome driven. We have delivered before, and we're going to deliver as we promised. So we have a inventory of companies that are dying to get started.
Okay, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to thank you, Ed, for your presentation. And this is an opportunity for, it sounds like, a pretty robust public-private partnership. And so we do want to take some more time to, as Commissioner Cousineau shared, reflect on the information that you provided to us, and maybe look at additional evidence that you might be able to provide, maybe the letters of support or something like that, and take a look at that over the next few days before we make a decision on proposing a resolution. So if any other commissioners have any questions in the meantime, feel free to let me know. I can put you in contact with Ed and give you his phone number, and we can go from there. So thank you, Dr. Pearson. Thank you, Ed, for your presentation. Now we will move on to old business. I don't think we have any old business on the agenda. We do have new business, Resolution 2026-0214.
I'll move it.
It's been moved. It's been supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution 2026-0346, approval of a recommendation by Genesee County's Metropolitan Planning Commission to approve the Genesee, Our County, Our Future Master Plan.
I'll move it.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any question or discussion? All those in favor say
Madam Chair.
aye. No, sorry, Commissioner Flewellen.
I do have one question for Derek. Good evening, Derek. So I read through this, looks good. Remind me again the correlation with the solid waste materials management plan.
Thank you. Through you, from the chair. This is a guide,
Okay.
but the solid waste management plan, material management plan now, that's another document that will come
Okay.
probably in about another 6-7 months.
So the update process is still ongoing for
Yep,
that?
we're still
Okay.
ongoing.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Wayhill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. While you're at the microphone, I know that other groups, other bodies were part of creating this. Obviously, we went out for public comment. We received public comment, and as I understand it, that public comment was funneled back to one or more of those entities. Could you maybe just really quickly describe that process with the other groups? Was there unanimity among those groups in terms of this coming before us tonight?
Yes, thank you. So this is a combined plan. So rather than doing separate plans, so this acts as the master plan for Genesee County. It also acts as our long-range transportation plan, which is our federal requirement in order to access the federal transportation dollars. So because of that, you'll see on the back, there's the Planning Commission, which we went to approval and got unanimous Tuesday. Our Metropolitan Alliance, which is our Transportation Policy Committee, they did their approval, I think, last week unanimously. All of the comments that we received, we incorporated in. And the one thing that if I ever had to say, what is the plan about? If you just look in the first page, the first mission statement, it's really about transforming places, empowering people, and making progress, right? It's $2.2 billion of investment, and if you go through the detail, it'll show what those projects are in the next 25 years.
Thank you, Mr. Bradshaw. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, any other questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next resolution, 2026-0351, approval of an agreement with Huntington National Bank to provide down payment assistance to eligible participants in Genesee County's Home Investment Partnership Program, Neighborhood Stabilization Program, and Neighborhood Purchase Rehab and Resale Programs.
I'll move it.
It's been moved and supported. Any question and discussion? Yes, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we have a little more explanation how this program works for our residents and myself?
Sure. So this program, what we do is for people that are within a certain income range, right, which is 80% of median income, they can go through this bank, or we have other banks, and we can provide up to $10,000 that will help offset the cost of closing and down payment assistance. That is then, it's not a grant, it's a lien that ends up going on that property. And then if and when they go to sell it, 20, 30 years down the road, then that'll be something that gets paid back. But it's trying to help offset the cost of trying to buy a house and to be able to cover those costs for closing and down payment.
And another question?
Yes, I have several. Thank you, Madam Chair. If I can continue.
And, well, Commissioner Flewellen did have his hand up. If,
No, go ahead, he might
Okay.
ask the one I've got.
Go ahead.
I didn't know if
He can go ahead first.
Generally, we go if you're done, and then we continue on. So, but if you want to go, Brian, I.
No,
have it.
you might ask my question.
no, if you have a follow-up, go ahead.
I'll go. I just,
If
All
you
right,
have
I'll
a
go.
follow-up,
Derek.
Commissioner Shoemaker, go ahead.
Okay,
Somebody.
I'll go. Derek, so, like you said, it goes on a lien, goes as a lien on the property. What happens to that lien if the house is foreclosed on, if it's short sale? Does that just continue with that property on the tax roll?
So it depends. So it's second place on the mortgage. So the primary mortgage will be first, and then we would be second.
Okay.
So in a lot of cases, we'll actually get our money back because they'll put additional money down on that property as well.
Okay. So there's no chance of us losing that $10,000, whatever, if the house is foreclosed, lose it to taxes, that kind of
The
stuff?
biggest issue is going to be if we have a housing meltdown or where property values crash, like we experienced back in 2000 and
We'll probably see it
7,
again.
8, 9.
They're pretty inflated now.
If we see that, there is a potential, but that's going to be the case.
Okay. Have they ran any kind of risk-benefit analysis to see what that would look like?
The biggest challenge, honestly, right now on this program, we haven't had a lot of those, but the biggest challenge right now is there's really a lack of housing for people to buy that are within those price ranges.
Okay.
And so that's one of our biggest hindrance with this program. But we've not really seen, we don't get a tremendous amount of houses that get foreclosed on and get lost.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Shoemaker?
Yeah, Brian, you were pretty close to what I was going to say, but how many of these go bad? What percentage?
I can look at the data. I wouldn't say a tremendous amount, but I can go back and actually look in the last 10 years what that percentage would be. I wouldn't think it's very much.
If I continue.
But I'll actually have to go and like pull the data.
All right, thank you. Do we charge interest on the $10,000, or it's just $10,000 like grandma gave you money? So there's no interest?
So it's
whatsoever?
$10,000, no interest,
Yeah, that's it.
with a full repayment, yes.
Okay. Where are most of the loans being made throughout the county, if geographically, please?
They're anywhere in Genesee County outside the city of Flint.
But if we were to do like a map of it, where do you think the majority?
They're really all over. And I can go back and, if you want, we can go back and look at the last 10, 20 years and specifically identify them. We've not seen necessarily any trends where they're concentrated or not. It's really throughout Genesee County what we've seen.
Go ahead.
Does it have to be a percentage of the house, then, the $10,000? Let's say they bought a $50,000 house, would it still, 10 grand still
It's an
qualify?
up to amount, and that's something that when they work with the lender, they come in to help cover that gap. So it's not a $10,000 like every time. It might be $4,000, it might be $2,000. So when they have that person that's trying to buy that house for, let's say, $180,000, they'll be like, okay, this is where they're at, this is what they need. Our closing cost is like $2,500. It'll come in for that. It's not a set grant to that person. We work with the financial institution on that.
Is there a minimal, though, on a house value?
No.
I'm just trying to put some things together. You know, you'd mentioned that we don't have a lot of houses for sale, and in our county, we've made it a tradition to worry about tearing things down before we spend the time to rebuild or fix them up. So I'm just wondering, on top of it, if these dollars will qualify for something like that moving forward. So I appreciate you answering my questions from there. Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Commissioner Cousineau?
How long has this program been running, Derek?
30-plus years.
Okay, so all we're doing in this resolution is adding another bank.
And so the funding for this program is, and this is a small percentage of the total, this is just adding another financial institution to it.
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you.
And my understanding is that in the past, we've had smaller financial institutions. The first time Huntington Bank has signed on.
Yes.
Which is, of course, a much larger financial institution. And so hopefully with that recognition, we'll be able to get more engagement from first-time home buyers. Any other questions for Derek? Okay. I think it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And I think we don't have any other business, so we are adjourned at 6:36 p.m.
Call the Finance Committee to order at, what time did you say it was?
6:36.
Okay, so 6:37. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd, Winfrey,
Here.
Getzinger,
President.
Brown,
Here.
Avery, Shoemaker,
President.
Cousineau,
Here.
Wayhill,
Here.
Llewellyn. Present.
Okay, approval of the minutes, resolution 26-4.
I'll move 'em.
Support.
Is there any comments or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We now take time for public comment to the committee. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to address the Finance Committee? Second time, is there anybody that's willing or wanting to address the Finance Committee? Third and final time, public comment is now closed. Communications, is there a report from the Director of Administration?
Mr. Chairman, two things that I want to bring to the committee's attention. First of all, this was our first tax season in this building. Last Monday, the Treasurer's Office had over 620 appointments, and on Tuesday, they had over 550 appointments. If any of you had been in the old administration building, you would know what a nightmare that was to process people that way. So this board should be really proud of the work that the Treasurer, Sam Mooma, and his team did during that time in getting those folks through this building. We should also recognize our team and veterans who also stepped up to help the Treasurer's Office. I think that they mentioned that to some of you. In the past, the Treasurer had hired temp workers that they brought in way before that tax season began to get them up to speed and trained, and these folks were able to step up and help immediately. They had a system for check-in, there was a triage, there was people that were helping residents move through the building, and if nothing else in this building had worked, that would be entirely worth it if you had experienced what it was like before. Cramped hallways, no meeting rooms to help residents, and people were just kind of hanging out in the basement for hours on end. It was not a good situation. Other thing that I want to bring to your attention is that, most of you know that federal funding is going to be greatly reduced at the end of this year, which is going to present significant staffing challenges for some departments. Many of the dollars we received during COVID, specifically ARPA, will be spent by the end of December of 2026. Fiscal and planning continue to monitor those funds and recommend adjustments to maximize their use. And I think, if not tonight, you'll see some of those resolutions coming before you. Along with that COVID funding, we've also received other federal funding in the Sheriff's Office for specific programming. and this funding is set to expire at the end of the fiscal year. And finally, state grant funding that helped to fund the prosecutor, several positions within the prosecutor's office. I think most of you were here, except maybe Commissioner Getzinger and Commissioner Flewelling, when that grant came in. We're having some issues with the state and how they interpret it, right? They said we were going to get $3 million, and to date, I think they've given us about $1 million. Is that right, Crystal? About $1 million, leaving us short, significantly short for, they fund parts of 11 or 12 people in the prosecutor's office. So all of these areas that are going to be negatively impacted, whether it's federal, state, or directed spending, mostly come from our public safety areas of the budget. Specifically, the prosecutor's area, this will need to be addressed very soon. We're about to run out of money for those positions at the end of this month. We've had conversations with the finance chair and the board chair about this issue, and we continue to work with our partners in Lansing to try to get some resolution and get those dollars freed up. But if they're not, your budget resolution demands that those, when we lose grant funding, that those people be laid off, and that's a big chunk in the prosecutor's office. So over the next week or so, we'll continue to work with this board to try to find a solution or a path forward. So I just wanted those two things to be on your radar.
Is that it? Yep. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. We have a report, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know, who's going to address us here under communication, the sheriff?
Yes, I believe he's here. There is a letter that the chair received earlier this year. The sheriff is in the house tonight, and I believe wants to speak to it. I believe the chair forwarded this to our finance committee, and the finance committee has been.
Yeah, so I'll just say I received a letter from the sheriff January 14th through Major Gould, who's been very persistent, Sheriff. He needs a raise. He's contacted me about 5 times about this, I want you to know.
Thank you.
So
Noted.
he sent it on the 14th. I forwarded it that day to our finance chair and the vice chair, who I think got with Crystal in finance, and we've been trying to figure out how to bring it before the full commission, and finally it's up as a discussion item. So for my part, that's what happened.
Thank you so much. The board was more than generous with my office. It was the biggest raise that deputies, sergeants, lieutenants, and captains received. I just want to say thank you personally. I've not had the opportunity to do that publicly, but you sent a message that you support law enforcement, you support the sheriff's office, and for that I'm grateful. However, there are 3 small little housekeeping items, and there were 2 county ambassadors that were established in 2023. Those 2 positions did not receive any pay adjustment. And if you look at the history of what you've done for the deputies, all the way up to myself, there is anywhere from a 14 to 33% pay increase. All we're trying to do is 14 for those 2 individuals. The undersheriff was given a 4% raise, and because of that longevity and the fact that that's an appointed position, I would like to ask for 10% on top of that to make it 14 across the board. I think the goal of the board was to make sure that we had a succession plan, that one rank doesn't make more than the rank above. And at this particular one, the undersheriff, whoever that person is, would make less than a captain who has longevity. So I'm just asking the board, and again, I know that you have a lot going on. I heard what the director of administration said. I understand that anytime you have a pay adjustment, but I will tell you these 3 positions, especially what they do for this community, what John L. and Tora Simpson do for the jail and representing, and of course the position of undersheriff, making it equitable. That's what I asked the board to do, is make those 3 pay adjustments, and for that I'd be grateful.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody have any comments or questions to the sheriff?
Thank you, sir.
I don't think we have any old business. New business, resolution 26-003, approval of purchase order to TraumaSoft in the amount not to exceed $20,000 for a new EPCR electronic patient care report software for the use in the field across the office of the Sheriff Genesee County Paramedics Division.
Support. With a question.
Yes. Please go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to let the board know, I do have a family member that began an entry-level job at the Sheriff's Department April 1st. I have spoke with corporate counsel this week, and they assured me that nothing on the current agendas create a conflict, but we will continue to monitor all the agendas, and they will let me know if there's something that comes up that is perceived as a conflict, and I will abstain.
Anybody else? Thank you for your honesty and integrity.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Flournoy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Abstain?
No,
One?
nothing
You're not
tonight,
this
nothing
time.
tonight conflicts, but
All
they'll
right, I
let me know if something
misunderstood
does.
briefly. Okay, 26-2076, approval of request by Genesee County Sheriff Office for a purchase order to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan at an amount not to exceed $48,206.
I'll move it, Mr. Chair.
To cover additional jail medical services. Any comments or questions? Mr. Shoemaker.
Thank you, Commissioner Kuzno. What caused the increase in expenses?
Do we have anybody to answer that?
Good evening, Captain Kennemer. So this stemmed from when we changed medical providers. There was a pool of money from our previous medical provider that these bills were paid out of, and any leftovers would always come back to the county. They refunded the leftovers from the county, and these are just medical bills that have come in since the switch in the medical provider from services already rendered.
So is this in the budget then? Does it fit within the budget, or is it just no expenditure?
Is it within your budget?
Crystal can answer that one. This is a tough one because it was part of a pool from the previous contract.
There is a budget amendment attached to this request, but it's not coming out of general fund. It's coming out of Fund 230.
Okay, so all within their budget.
It will be after the amendment is posted, yes.
Anything else? Mr.
I'm all
Shoemaker?
set, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 26-0278, approval request by Genesee County Clerk and Register of Deeds Office to create, post, and fill one clerical coordinator position.
I'll move it.
Support.
Could we have the clerk come forward and explain? Thank you, Mr. Clemens.
Yes, good evening, friends. As we've talked about previously, this is a resolution that would create one additional staff position in our office that would be focusing primarily on back office procedures. So this is everything not related to the work that is being done at the counter. Doing that frees up the staff that are at the counter who currently rotate through the day being on the counter and not on the counter, the time to be able to spend more time at the counter, which would in turn mean that our office could be open on Fridays. So just to give you an example of what those things are outside of the work that you see at the counter, and I'm not talking about the election division at all, that's completely separate. But just in the course of this week, we have 106 online vital record orders. That's 106 requests for copies of birth certificates that need to be processed. 225 pending applications in the vital records division that need to be called and confirmed, reviewing those applications before those individuals come in. 206 CPLs are currently in the hopper needing to be processed. 67 electronic filings of deeds. 1,172 in-person deeds still are in our processing queue, and 1,914 deeds in our audit queue to be reviewed. These are all daily tasks that happen outside of the work that's at the counter. This position would be able to greatly reduce these numbers and our backlog that we're having to allow for us to streamline processes, get documents out to residents quicker, and as I mentioned, to your goal of having our office open on Fridays.
So basically, you've rearranged your office in a proactive manner to not put this request any strain on the general fund and it's all taken care of without, out of your specialty funds.
Correct. This is
So,
a 100% non-general fund. I believe it's 80% funded out of the concealed pistol license fund and the other 20% from the ROD Tech Fund, which does mean that this person will be heavily on the CPLs, those 206 that we have just in this week, and those deed processes. With that being said, I've mentioned to you all before, we do have over $1.5 million in our CPL fund balance that can only be used and expensed in our office for things such as this. In conversations that I've had with fiscal services, we're actually anticipated to grow that fund balance this year by an additional $20,000 to $30,000. As well as the fact that we have underspent on salaries at this point. This position, I believe, with all benefits, will cost these two funds about $95,000. But through the budget adjustment that's included with this, it's only, I believe, $39,000 and some change that would change in our budget. And out of that $39,000, again, 20 to 30 of it is going to be new revenue just realized this year. So it's a very small drop, which makes me believe that this is something that would be sustainable up until the point where they did away with concealed pistol licenses, and there's been legislation introduced almost every year for the last 15 to 20 years to do that, and it's likely not happening. So this is, I believe, sustainable through this fund.
Does anybody have any comments or yes, Dr. Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So looking at the organizational chart, I see you have an intern here too. Can you talk a little bit about what that intern's responsibilities will be and how long is the intern there for?
Yeah, so we've run an internship program now for all 4 years that I've been in the clerk's office. We work with Michigan State University and their Flint Study Away program. They bring a cohort of students through from MSU to be at various places throughout Genesee County and Flint. Our office, the public defender's office, the prosecutor's office have all participated in this program with the intern. So our intern starts in the summer. We actually budget for 2 internship positions. The way we usually utilize that is if the intern in the summer has been successful, we invite them, especially if they're local, to stay on for an additional semester in the fall. Or if not, we can bring on another intern. We've in the past have had the intern stay on. In the past, we've brought in a second intern, and in some years we've not brought on a second intern at all and use that money as savings. So that intern position itself has a lot of different facets. They do help a lot with the frontline side of things. So they are going to be working at that greeter station with that beautiful podium that you all approved us to get not too long ago. They'll be helping answer phones. They will be attending community events. A big chunk of what the intern's position is going to be doing is focused around elections. That summer internship pairs very well. It starts in June 1st and usually ends the first week in August, which is our August election. So they help with a lot of the preparation for that, getting our local clerks the materials that they need, our machine programming, our poll worker training, helping with setup and tear down of events and all of those sorts of
So it
things.
sounds like there's no overlap with what this new position that you're asking for and what the intern is doing.
Correct, yeah. This time, for the last 4 years, we haven't had any of the intern do any of this direct work because they do have to be a sworn deputy clerk or higher position, taking that oath and going through about 6 months of training, which would be the entirety of the internship program to be able to handle these documents.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other comments or questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Schumacher.
Thank you to the clerk for being here. It's appreciated. I have just a couple quick questions here. First is, when will you be opening on Friday?
So that's a question I will bring back to you all as a board on when you approve this position. Being that this is a clerical coordinator position, I imagine that this position will be filled internally, and then we'll have a posting open to fill that position. My thought, my expectation is as soon as this position and the backfilled position are filled, we will be opening. At this point, I know we are in the April committees. Next week is the April full board meeting. Then it has to go through the HR process to get posted. There's a 2-week posting window, then probably a week of interviews, and then training. So we're looking into probably mid-May by the time we get both positions posted and filled, if not the beginning of June.
So, sorry. Yeah, if I could continue, please. So you're thinking by July at the latest?
Realistically, I think by June 1st. I think we should be able to fill both of those positions. If we hire internally, that second position won't need to come back to you all as a full board. That'll go through the document review process, so that one will be a little speedier. But that will also still require that 2-week posting. But I think we can get all that done before June.
Here's just another question. I have that written down. Funny you mentioned that someone from internal would take that position from there. So obviously, here's my question. Is it, who is gonna, will you be hiring that person from within? Okay. I'm only bringing this up as a thought process to other staff. You know, positions like this sometime in government agencies get created because a manager, I'm not saying you are, states that, guess what? I can't give you a raise because you're maxed out, but if I create this position, you can have a raise, and we go from there. So I hope it's open to everybody. I'm assuming you're gonna do that, that the most qualified people.
And all of those that are in my office currently, with the exception of one who has a lot of longevity and seniority, are not even close to max out on their pay scales. So this is not that
That's what I'm saying,
situation
but
at
this
all.
will be more.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, so.
Yeah, this will be more, but I'm saying that
No, I know you're saying you're.
everyone else still has steps to grow either way.
Like I said, I'm not saying but we've seen this before, and you and I were here, and we commented on this when you were a commissioner, so thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you answering my question on when you're gonna open, and I'm excited to maybe post it all over the county website. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 26-30319, approval of
Move it.
request by Genesee County's Health Department to accept the Michigan Medical Marijuana Operation and Oversight Grant in the amount of $118,123 from the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs.
Support.
Is there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Resolution 26-0335, forwarding to receive and file a copy of the paid county bills for the weeks ending 2/22/26 through 3/15/2026, and a total amount
move
of
it.
$19,333,462.71. Is there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Resolution 26-0350, approval of proposed budget amendment to the 25-26 appropriations resolution for various line items as described in
Move
the
it.
attached budget. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Resolution 26-0352, approval of purchase order to Dell for the fiscal year ending 2026 in amount not to exceed $50,000 to provide for the purchase of computers at Genesee County's Health Department.
Support.
Is there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Resolution 26-0367, approval of the ARPA funding reallocation of $590,000 from project savings to continue fundings of ARPA positions for court backlog.
I'll move it.
Support. Anybody have, yes, Mr. Shoemaker, go ahead.
If I could, I don't know any physical services up here, or I don't know who's gonna answer my question here, but my first is, you know, I remember when we pushed this forward, we were going to accelerate the backlog. And that's why we gave some ARPA dollars to begin with this. I'm assuming these are leftovers dollars from, where are they coming from, though? What project were they from?
The tower project.
That we had left over. Okay, so we're gonna put them with the courts. I'm just, and I've said this in meetings before, and I've wanted to meet with the prosecutor's office and the courts, because, you know, we were just talked about our future projects and thoughts at the workshop last, 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. And Mr. Freeman was nice enough to send me some information from the amount of days our average individual spends the evenings in our jail. And I'm still waiting to get information back out of where other counties are. But I'll be very frank, I don't know if I've seen the speed up since even we approved these people. I just don't think I saw it. You know, and when we have people in there that long, and I think, Mr. Freeman, if you could remind me, I can pull it up here on my email if I have to in a minute. What was the average day our average person was spending in there? Do you remember what that was?
I believe I emailed you some updated numbers I got today, and that was actually something I was gonna talk about in my report for the next committee, but average length of stay in Genesee County is 199, and the last report that they provided me, the average length of stay across the state was 22 days.
So something needs to be, obviously be changed. $590,000 is not gonna fix this. There's something as far as the way we're handling or doing things. Did you say 22 days?
Yes.
And we're 199.
109.
109.
No, I'm sorry, 199.
199. So I'm just gonna say this, until we see a plan to do something different or better, I mean, the only leverage we have is because we control the purse. We've got to do something different here. This is not fair to the people in the jail. It's not fair to our staff because they're dealing with people who get frustrated because they're in there. It's just a big problem. So like I said, I'm a no. I've been down here 7 years. It seems to just keep adding on. I won't make comments about things I saw during COVID from certain offices when I'm over, because I was laid off, if everyone remembers. And I'm over at the gym in the middle of the day. I'm seeing people who are supposed to be working there. Not just once, repeatedly. So I just don't think it's a priority. We've let them know it's a priority, so for right now, I'm gonna be a no on this. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. Anybody else have any
Mr. Chair.
comments? Yes.
Thank you, sir. Through you to Crystal. So I wasn't here when all this was passed. How are these funded right now?
So currently, all of those positions there, other than the 4 case investigators, are currently on ARPA, but they will expire before the end of this fiscal year.
Okay.
Since we had the savings from the tower project, ARPA rules say you can reallocate those funds to something that was obligated before 12/31/24. So we can continue to fund these up through 12/31/26 under the ARPA guidelines. That's when the mandate to stop spending is. So I'm also asking that there was a resolution passed to move those 4 case investigators to general fund. I'm asking to move them back to ARPA since we have the funds available.
Okay. So remind me how many total positions this is that's covered under
Let's
this
see,
590,000?
there's 2 tether, 3 public engagement specialists, legal, and the clerk's office. 4 case investigators, some promotion costs. They did that so that those people could take on a higher role to do some things that they couldn't do before to expedite within the courts. A victim advocate, a clerical coordinator, and then just various part-time court security. So 2, 5, 11 full-time, 2 promotion costs, and then the part-time court security, which I think as of the last ARPA payroll, there was maybe 4 people charging there.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Sure,
Tell me again what the public engagement?
Yeah, they're called public engagement specialists, but it's the legal division of the clerk's office that file the paperwork related to the court system.
Okay, all right. Is there,
Explain that if you want further.
who's that?
Barbara, our court administrator from the circuit court.
Yeah, Barbara
Yeah,
Menier
no,
was
it's okay.
part of that
No, it's
process.
okay.
We
Just-
also, as part of the ARPA reporting, we do have to report on program information from the prosecutor's office related to the cases that they're working on related to these dollars. So I could share that with any of you as well if you'd like to see it.
And is there a plan for 1/1 of '27, how any of this is gonna be funded?
No, they would either be eliminated in accordance with the board adopted budget resolution, or they would have to come to the board to be approved to fund them out of general fund.
And if I may, this 590,000 is just from this point to the end of the fiscal year? The
From
next
this
6
point
months?
to 12/31/26, so to get us through the first quarter of
Okay.
2027.
All right. If I may, is there a way that you guys can bring some data next week to show if this has done anything to speed anything up? Obviously, we need tether, we need court security, we need all that, but $600,000 for the next 9 months, and then how much have we spent prior to that? And Mr. Freeman just said they're spending 200 days in jail 10 times what every other county. To me, I don't see how this has sped anything up.
I can't speak to the program
No,
side.
yeah, but if
But
anybody,
I can get with them and
if
get some
Barbara, anybody else,
information.
bring some numbers next week to show if this has made any kind of difference whatsoever, please.
And then I have a tracker that shows by each of these positions how much we've spent to date on ARPA, so if you'd like to see that, I can provide that as
Because this is
well.
what we've talked about for the last year and a half. Grants are going away, ARPA's done. I don't know what we're gonna do with half our budget, so, thank you.
Mr. Chair, wanted to tease out the piece about what we're able to spend this on, because the word obligated is prominent in your memo. The way I understand it is ARPA money, what we're doing is reallocating ARPA money that we received prior to December of '24. But when we reallocate that, our only option is to reallocate it to something, a program or a budget line that had been obligated with other ARPA money prior to December of '24. Is that right? Next question, given that, is are there other line items in the county budget that were obligated before '24, not this one, that, given what Mr. Shoemaker said about, you're not interested in funding this, are there other opportunities that we're unaware of as a commission, or are they, they've got their ARPA money and they're solid?
There is another item on the agenda, I don't know if it's this one or a subsequent one, from the IT department related to the door access. If it's a change order related to a project that was obligated, we can fund that with ARPA dollars. Or if there's another project that the county approved that had a signed contract by 12/31/24, that you either have a change order because the costs increased from that time when it was obligated, or I think there's some community projects that we had committed to only up to a certain percentage. You could reallocate some of the dollars to those projects if they were still going.
I see. So nothing that it would be new
No.
is eligible. So we'd have to take an inventory of what we've obligated, or which projects have received ARPA money, and take some time to do that. If we were not to spend the money on this and take time, the clock is ticking, and this money goes back to Washington.
Correct.
If we don't spend it by December 31st of this calendar year.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
If I could, yeah, please. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Wayhill, or Chair Wayhill. That's part of what I was going to ask the question of. And I just want to elaborate one other thing. We did also use ARPA dollars for our senior centers, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we could use it for our seniors, those funds.
It would have to be something tied into the
What we
previous
used it
project
before,
that we had
yes,
signed.
But we
yes.
can, so we can help our seniors out. Because we
Yeah,
used it before.
we'll have to, if you wanted to explore that, we'd have to go back and look at the contracts that were signed and line it up with the eligibility criteria, but we could look at that.
Let's see what the board's pleasure is, but that would be interesting to see what we did, because I know we did.
I mean, we have a tracker of all of the projects that were obligated, so we could do
Yes.
that.
Yeah, you were providing me a nice monthly list for a long time. I appreciate it, so
Sure.
thank you.
Did just one more, to be clear, I'm not opposed to these positions. And obviously, if we don't spend this money, it goes back to Washington and probably goes into somebody's pocket. But what I'm asking for is going forward in the future, if you guys put something together, because we have a shortage of deputies anyways, right? Generally, most of the time. So if they can be relocated somewhere else, if these programs aren't working to speed up court cases, then let's look at that. But
So my understanding is the part-time court security are retired people who just want to work a few hours to keep their certification is how I understand that. And then the two positions that are funded from the sheriff's office are a sergeant and corrections deputy that are assigned to Tether.
Right.
That help monitor those that are out on
Oh,
Tether.
yeah, which is absolutely a very essential function. And I guess my thought is if this is gonna end up being general fund money, we could always use more paramedics on the road. There's a lot of things that we could use. If this program isn't speeding up court cases, then we should probably do a deeper dive into the judicial system and the prosecutor's office, see what the problem is. But Mr. Shoemaker said we gotta spend it somewhere, Senior centers need money, sure, but you can't have people on tether with nobody watching them, so.
This is true.
Fair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know Barb Manier is here, and I wondered if you could provide some insights for us that we may not have heard already relative to this particular item, and then especially, I don't know if you can speak to the 22 versus 199 days.
I'd be happy to. Barbara Minier, I'm the administrator of the Circuit Court. I really didn't know I was going to have to speak on this today. I'm glad I did some work on this for the Chief Judge today, because I think it'll be insightful to this conversation. Let me just go back. You really need to know the background on this. Before Mr. Clemens was here, we had a different elected clerk register, and during COVID, he laid off 4 people who are now called community engagement specialists. You and I would just know them as the individuals at the point of filing in the clerk's office. So this was when COVID was going on. The court was down to just essential operations. Basically, you couldn't come in and file anything. You had to make an appointment to come in. So the previous clerk laid off everybody. After COVID, my understanding is he came to this body to seek to have those positions reinstated. Was not successful the first time that he came, but the second time he came, they became these ARPA-funded positions. So that's how they came to be. And they have been there ever since that time. The Circuit Court took over that office with the agreement of Mr. Clemens in January of '24. And so these individuals work for the court now. That's just to give you an idea. They're not new people that we added during ARPA. It was reinstating 3 that the previous clerk had let go during that same time frame. But with respect to, and I have a lot of respect for Mr. Freeman, but I don't know what that data means, 20-some days. I mean, in circuit court, once a criminal case reaches us, the judges, if they're able to follow the time guidelines from the Michigan Supreme Court, have 1 year to dispose of criminal cases, and that's considered timely. Now, not everybody's in jail with a case that's pending, but many are on serious cases. I looked at a 5-year retrospective today, and I'll really hit the highlights of this. I can send this to you in more complete detail. But in 2020, as you know, maybe March or April of 20 is when COVID really, became upon us. We had 1,120 new filings just in criminal cases, not civil cases and divorces and juvenile cases. I'm just talking, what we're talking about, criminal cases. There were 1,120 total. In 2021, we had 1,705. You might wonder, well, why do they go up? A court doesn't start, a criminal case doesn't start with us. It starts in the district court. They were under the same constraints that we were. So they were taking cases in, they live with it and have to do what they have to do, and then the case finds us. So there's often a delay, totally justified in most circumstances due to what has to happen with those cases. So I'll repeat that. It went up in 21 to 1,705 total criminal. In 2022, it went up to 1,929 criminal. In 23, it went down to 1,621. Just serendipity. There's no way to know exactly what happens. In 2024, it's back up to 1,947. And in 2005, we just completed our annual caseload report that we are required to submit to the Supreme Court each year. We had 2,043 cases. So from 2020, I go back to when COVID started, we had 1,120, and last year we had 2,043 serious criminal cases, or they wouldn't come to us. So that gives you an idea of what comes in the door. Then there's a period of time as to whether that case is going to be resolved without a trial, with a trial dismissed, what are the circumstances. But here, I think, is the most interesting thing, considering the jail. We have to measure how many days a person is in jail, and if they're there in excess of a certain period of time, that case has to take a very high priority. And if the jail's rated design capacity of 580 inmates is exceeded for 7 days or more, the sheriff has no choice by law. He must declare an emergency. And I think all of you are likely, familiar with that. When that happens, notice is served to the chief judge of the district court, the circuit court, perhaps all commissioners. I'm not certain exactly who all gets it, but certainly the chief judge does.
And if the judges collectively don't reduce that number within another 5 or 10 days, all of a sudden, the chief judge of the circuit court essentially ends up running the jail. Because by statute, the chief judge of the circuit court decides who's more at risk to be released and who really shouldn't be released. It's a big deal when we all go through this. Nobody wants to do this. It's a huge public safety issue. But here's what I want to tell you. In 2020, we receive reports every day on how many people are in the jail. Now, it's not a perfect world. We don't always get 365 days worth of reports. But in 2020, we got 318 days of reports sent to us. The days of a population below the rated design was 312 days, or 98% of the time we were under rated design as a county. Not the circuit court, as a county, we were under that. In 2021, we got fewer reports. You know, COVID was going on and things were not being reported quite as clearly. There were 103 days were reported to us. 70 of those days, they were under 580, or 68%. We couldn't try cases. People with murder cases, people with armed robbery cases, people with CSC-1 cases, they're being held. And we're told by the Supreme Court, you can't try cases. You can't have jurors come to your building. It's a perfect storm building. We can't try cases, and the sheriff's department and the jail is getting higher and higher. Okay. Then in 2022, 30% of the time it was under 580. You can see it's building again. There were 3 emergency declarations in 2022. In 23, there were 77% of the time it was not in excess of rated design. In 24, 99% of the time it was not in excess of rated design. And in 25, 85%. It was not in excess of rated design. Those are hard numbers. I mean, that is from the data supplied to us from the Sheriff's Department on a daily basis. And I would tell you that in March of 23, we applied to the Michigan Supreme Court for a grant. Give us a visiting judge. Let us try to start trying more cases now that the floodgates were open a little bit. And I think I came here for you to agree to accept that, or at least acknowledge that we had received it. No county money. We got $750,000. We had a visiting judge from May of 23 to November of 25. We paid for a prosecutor. We paid for a clerk. We paid for pre-sentence reports to be done. And I would say to you that without that grant, quite frankly, we would have been in much more dire circumstances. While he was here, there wasn't one declaration of an emergency in the county jail. So we look at this all the time. This isn't just, you know, when a crisis happens, we look at it. We look at this every day. But a case has a certain life to it under law. And the judges are constrained to follow that law. So it's easy to just look at numbers and go, well, somebody else has 22 days. I don't know what that was, Mr. Freeman, and I'm not blaming you, but it might be unsentenced misdemeanors. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, the circuit court doesn't deal with misdemeanor cases, so I can't speak to that. But could everybody do a little bit better? Of course, everybody could do a little bit better. But those are the numbers. We went through, you know what, during COVID, we all did. And it was a perfect storm. We couldn't try cases. The jail numbers were going up. We got a grant to bring a visiting judge in to do some lower level cases that pled out, didn't have to go to trials. And now that the trials can be conducted, the numbers are going up and there are more trials. Last year, for example, we tried, because I gathered that today too, we did 46 criminal jury trials in 2025. In 2021, in the midst of COVID, where we were allowed to do one here and one there, we're doing air quality studies from the health department. Can we use this courtroom for this? We did 14. So it's just a cauldron of a crisis when you can't try jury trials, and that's your bread and butter work as a circuit court. So that's what I can tell you. And I'm more than happy to, submit this to Josh, and he can share it with you, because we just got it done today. So that's why we need these 3 people. The floodgates are open, the caseloads are up, we have to have them process cases. Are we looking at better ways to do this, and is there a more automated way to do this? We had a meeting today, Mr. Olson, myself, and one of our managers from that office. Can we do something short of e-filing? We do not have permission to go to e-filing yet from the Supreme Court. So there's a lot to do, and I'm sorry to take up so much of your time, but maybe that was helpful information.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I appreciate what I was told, but here's the problem. Everybody lived through COVID. Okay? And the numbers, and I'm sure Mr. Freeman will research them and get us another one, but where did, Michigan Association of Counties, is that where that came from, or where?
That
where
came
was
from
it?
Captain Kennemer.
Okay.
You could probably speak to what they mean, so.
So, you know, that's my frustration is everybody dealt with COVID. Everybody had courtrooms shut down. Everyone had all this. And I've been here before, and I'm sure Mr. Freeman's heard me say it. Something's got to change. We got to think about this. This isn't just the cost of these positions. We're the cost of housing them in the jail, additional overtime, overtaxing our staff at the sheriff's department because we're so full. It just continues on and on and on. These costs, medical care that we just approved more of. Because guess what? We're not moving people through efficiently. Something has to give, and unfortunately, the only way we get people to the table sometimes is to tie the funds up or stop the funds. So, thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it.
Anybody else? Yeah, I'd just make a quick comment. I agree with Mr. Shoemaker that, you know, we've had numerous talks about how something has to change, and I don't have an answer at this point in time, but, you know, we did briefly talk recently about the Maricopa court system out there and how efficiently it's running, and that's something that I personally would like to emulate and change, but that takes time and a ton of money, so. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, if you'll indulge me, I think District Judge Goggins is interested in saying a couple words.
Yeah, boy, I'm on a whole different topic, but I hear Ms. Muneer talking. The problem with those numbers that are being thrown around, our felony dockets have grown tremendously over the last few years. I started out in district court. My felony docket on any given Wednesday for me is huge compared to what it was. So those numbers, I don't know where they're coming from, but I would suspect it's the same thing. My misdemeanor docket, I can fly through those pretty darn quick. You get hung up on these felony cases on a regular basis. And to do justice to those cases, it's not just running through a trial or running through, it's all that stuff leading up to that that adds up. My preliminary examination schedule. There's thought that has to go into those things too. And I'm running through those as quick as I can. So when you're hearing those numbers thrown around statewide, we go to our conferences, our felony docket here is much bigger than many, many, many counties statewide. I go to conferences and some have maybe a couple preliminary examinations, a couple trials once a year. We've got any given day, today I must have had 20 felony cases up today, any given day. So to sit there and slam circuit court, and I didn't hear us being slammed yet, but circuit court, it's not fair to them because it does. It starts out with us and they're just getting snowballed with where our docket starts. So I just would ask you to take that into consideration too. Sometimes it's not the clerk's issues, it's not that, it's just the volume of the types of cases that we're having. And so many of them are felony cases now. And I guess I just felt compelled to say something because we had nobody else that handles them on a regular basis, that's all. I appreciate you letting me talk.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Anything else?
All set. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. Resolution 26-0398, approval of the fiscal year 2025 deficit elimination plan and directing the Department of Fiscal Services to submit the plan to the state of Michigan. Anybody have any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We don't have any other business, and we are adjourned at whatever time it is.
Okay. I will call this Government Operations Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd, Winfrey,
Here.
Getzinger,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Avery,
Here.
Shoemaker,
Present.
Kuzma,
Here.
Wayhill,
Here.
Llewellyn.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Do we have any public comment for the committee?
Hello. My name is Joshua Twolda from Grand Blanc Township. First, I urge you to approve the ALS month resolution. One of my favorite teachers passed away from ALS, and the horrible thing is that many people don't know they have it until it's too late. So anything that we can do to increase recognition is a good thing in my mind. But mainly I'm here for the appeal of my FOIA request, 25313, which requested various records regarding flock cameras. The deadline for the board to respond to that appeal is today, and I haven't received a response. The county's main reason for denying this request is that the county doesn't own the footage from the flock cameras. That's what the county claims. But this is a baseless claim. The only evidence that was said for this was board meeting discussions, which legally speaking don't overrule written policy or signed contracts or state law. To quote the county contract with Flock, quote, as between Flock and agency, all right, title, and interest in the agency data belong to and are retained solely by the agency, which is the county. For the avoidance of doubt, the agency data shall include the footage. Even the Sheriff's General Order number 43, signed by Sheriff Swanson himself, I think if he's still in the house, says, quote, the ALPR system and all data collected is the property of the Genesee County Sheriff. So that's the first part. Second part is that was for the locations of the flock cameras owned by the county. And that part was denied because supposedly the criminals would avoid the cameras if they knew the locations. However, the locations are already public information. They're visible by the public eye, and there's maps online of where the cameras are. The only thing that the maps don't show is who owns which cameras, right? For criminals, it makes no difference who owns which cameras because the sheriff can see all the cameras in the county, and I think they can see all cameras within the state as well. But for the public, it's really in the public interest to know because, like, if you have a camera right next to your house, how do you know if it's the county that owns the camera or your township that owns the camera? So it's in the public interest to know, and it wouldn't help criminals in any way. So overall, there's simply like no grounds. The grounds that were used to deny the request are like irrelevant and incorrect. And for those reasons, I urge the board to approve my appeal. Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public comment? Is there anyone else for public comment? Last call, public comment. Okay, public comment is closed. Communications, report from Director of Administration. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. We have no old business. What I would like to do and get the board's temperature on a consent agenda, removing anything from the agenda that anyone would like to, so we could speed this process up, because it's a little longer than we thought for a subcommittee.
Support consent agenda. I'll support that.
Okay, we have a motion support. I would like to, if it's okay with the board, though, I do have one item I'd like to take out, item number 1. So we would be moving to start with, we'll move item 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You still good with that motion?
Yeah, I'll support that. I know that you'll offer separations if people.
Yep, so from there, if there's no other separations,
I do.
okay.
No, go ahead. I just have
Okay.
a question on one.
Okay. As far as items 2 through 10, is there any discussion?
I do have one question, probably for Captain Cronkite, Sheriff's Department. Thank you, sir. So I know I've asked you this question before, but I just want to make sure, with the emergency medical services millage renewal,
Correct.
a renewal's enough for you guys, right?
Yes.
Provides proper amount of funding?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anyone else have anything they'd like to discuss further or questions? Nope.
Can I, Mr. Shoemaker, I complimented Major Gould, but also compliment in front of his boss, Captain Cronkite. He's been working very closely with myself and Mr. Freeman and others on making sure the EMS millage renewal made it to our agenda. So thank you, Captain, and thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. If there is no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 2026-0257, approval of purchase to Mass Transit Authority for the fiscal year ending 2026 in the amount not to exceed $24,000 to provide transportation services for court participants. The cost of this purchase order will be paid from the listed accounts.
I'll move it.
I have a motion to support. Any discussion? If no one, do you have your hand up?
Some explanation what,
We could have
what
someone
this
come
is
up,
for.
please.
Yeah.
It's Barbara Minier again, I'll try. We operate a number of specialty courts, mental health court, the family recovery court, the veterans court, and the adult recovery court. And occasionally, there are people who have an inability to find transportation to court or to their appointments and that sort of thing. And all of these requests are contained within grants. There's no county money in this. These are either federal grants or state grants that allow us to get bus passes for the people to make those appointments.
Okay, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
with this program,
Yes?
how long have these grants been in existence? I mean,
I wrote the first one probably 22 years ago, to be honest with you, the first drug court grant. It was a request to begin our drug courts. The Veterans Court has been online for maybe 10 or 15 years. The Mental Health Court, pretty
so
much
the transportation piece is included within
Yes.
the grant funding?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
For that $24,000, could it be general funded if it had to be in the future?
If
Not knowing
there's
what the
no
status
match
of
with
grants
these,
and
there's
everything
no
else.
match with the grant, so it's kind of
Sure.
desirable to do it this way.
Sure.
We'd certainly be open to that. The people are interviewed, so it's not just you get the bus pass. They're interviewed to see if they have other ways that they can get to the court and to their program.
I only ask that because grants aren't forever.
Yes, sir.
They can go away.
We'll keep thinking.
And if this is an essential service, as you're saying, if costs of these specialty courts go up, if the grants are in jeopardy,
Yes, sir.
it's
I'm
gonna
with
have
you.
to be funded somehow, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Is there anyone else? Okay, if there's no one else, I'd just like to state something. So we are paying MTA to shuttle people. And then we're going around and we're taxing everyone in this county that has a piece of property so we can shuttle people also. Because we're paying them right for this. This is exactly what's happening. We're not getting money from MTA to shuttle people around. We're paying
We're
MTA.
That's right. We're taking grant dollars and buying the MTA passes to give to Genesee County residents to get to court and appointments. Yes, sir.
And if I'm remembering correctly, I know it's over, Mr. Freeman, refresh my memory, we've had a discussion on this. What do they collect a year roughly from the MT millage? It's over $10 million, if I remember
I
correctly.
wouldn't want to give a number because I honestly don't remember.
Okay. So like I said, I have a problem we do this because we're already taxing people for something. And the residents are paying that tax. So it seems like that should be a service for everybody that could be provided. You know, my frustration, I see some of the salaries over there, and $24,000 is not a lot, and we're getting in a grant, that's great. But this is something we need to be very aware of, though, that, once again, record taxes, minimal services, and then we're having to go outside to get these services. I'm not for anything that we collect that much money as far as what MTA does, and the fact is we're gonna have to, you know, subsidize it. Now, real quick, if I may, can we use this grant for anything else other than transportation? So,
Yes.
okay, so we could be using this towards, Barb, could you give me a couple ideas what we could use it for?
Well, right now, we use a lot of it for drug treatment. Would we like to do drug testing 4 times a week instead of 3 times a week to make sure we're not getting fooled that somebody's using drugs? For sure, we could use it for other, yes.
So, and not that I'm against the program, it's just very frustrating as a taxpayer of this county, and that's one of the reasons I got involved in government, that you see these funds being allocated like this, and we're already taxing people, and then we could be using it for more productive measures if they were a little more efficient with their funds. So from that, if no one else has anything, I was going to say I relinquished the floor, but I got to stay in charge for a moment more. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Thank you.
With that, we have no other business, and we will adjourn this meeting at 7:35.
Okay, we're gonna call the Human Services Committee meeting to order at 7:35. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd, Commissioner Winfrey,
Here.
Getzinger,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Avery, Shoemaker,
Present.
Kuzma,
Here.
Wayhill,
Here.
Llewellyn.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Support.
Properly moved, supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Are there any public comments to this committee? Yes, sir. Just state your name and place of residence.
Yes, sir. Thank you. My name is Jim Bush, Atlas Township Supervisor. I'm asking for your support on item 7. 2 years ago, Atlas Township entered an agreement with Senior Services to provide services to the residents of Atlas Township. In 2 years, that program has grown to a point where we really need help with temporary administrative assistant to handle the paperwork, the funding, ordering tickets, scheduling buses. So that's what that item is for, funding for a temporary assistant to help us grow the program. So I'm asking for your support on that item, and I'm here if you have any questions about what we do in Atlas Township.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Public comments are now closed. Any communications? Director of Administration?
No, sir.
At this time, we're going to call Michelle Estelle from the Health Department to give us their quarterly report.
Hello, thank you for letting us present today. I'm Michelle Estelle, the health officer, and today we have our chief epidemiologist, Matt Peters, and our medical director, Dr. Michaela Corsi, that will go through our communicable disease report for the county, our quarterly report with the latest and greatest data, and then Dr. Corsi will be able to, if you have additional questions. So I'll let Matt start.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I provided just a preliminary data report for Q1 2026 from our communicable disease team. Happy to answer any questions going forward as well. I wanted to give a brief rundown of the respiratory illness season. Typically runs from October through April. We're seeing mostly a decrease in those respiratory illnesses. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. Additionally, some of our other seasonal illnesses that we expect to see increase during warmer weather are low, as expected. That includes gastrointestinal bacterial illness, vector-borne, such as Lyme disease, and also Legionnaire's disease is a seasonal condition that we expect to see increase during warmer months, decrease during cooler months. Some other general trends we've been seeing, we will be working on our annual report for 2025, so we'll have data available for you later on this year. But some general trends we've been seeing in the last couple of years, sexually transmitted infections like chlamydia and gonorrhea have been decreasing in our county and in the state the last couple of years. We did see a small number of pertussis cases following a large increase in cases that occurred from the 2024 to 2025 winter season. This 2025 to 2026, we've seen a couple of straggler cases, but generally a lot smaller than in the previous year, I should say. Another good trend is that we're seeing a decrease in invasive group-based strep or Streptococcus pyogenes cases. There was a state and nationwide increase in 2023 and 2024 that has started to abate a little bit, which has been nice. And then we've also, in the last couple of years, seen an emergence of Candida auris, which is a yeast that colonizes the skin and can cause infections. That has increased at the local, state, and national level in recent years, and that's an emerging infection. Only very recently has it even been considered a reportable condition. So to go a little bit more into our respiratory illness season, I want to keep it brief here, so I took some statewide data here. First, we're going to look at influenza. This respiratory illness season peaked a little bit earlier than last year. You can see the dotted black line would be the most recent season. This is in the hospitalizations in the state of Michigan from the FluServeNet, which is a surveillance service that the state runs. We saw a little bit of an earlier peak compared to the previous season, and a smaller peak in hospitalizations compared to the previous season. For COVID-19, we are nearing the end of peak hospitalization season for COVID-19 as well. Happy again to provide some additional data on this at your request, but as you can see, as respiratory illness season has continued, we're seeing a decrease in COVID-19 hospitalization rates across the state as well. The only little bit of a difference as far as respiratory illness goes this season is we're seeing a later peak for RSV. Usually that will more so coincide with the other two respiratory illnesses. It peaked a little bit later this particular season. Preliminary data from our surveillance services indicate that that's going to is finally decreasing too, which is a good sign. But other than that, a relatively uneventful respiratory illness season compared to some other ones. So I've also included in our report here, I'll save you the time of going over every single reportable condition, but I did for your, just for your perspective, provide a report for our Q1 reportable diseases and compared to previous years, and then yearly totals as well. Again, there are a couple pages to this, but I'm happy to answer specific questions about them, but I just wanted you to have that. And again, these are preliminary data. Q1 just ended in March, so there is a little bit of time that required to investigate some certain cases. So they are, some of our more recent case counts are subject to change in 2026, but like I said, I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Any questions?
I'm just happy that this has come to this point, and we're seeing this again, so thank you.
Yeah. What is the, I've forgotten my Latin a long time ago, the Candida auris, what type of disease is that?
You want me to?
Yeah, please.
So Candida auris is a fungal infection, and like Matt mentioned, so it is most commonly something that's kind of colonized on the skin. It's an emerging infection where we're seeing in folks that are either severely immunocompromised, so it's particularly something of interest in like long-term care facilities, or people who have like indwelling catheters. Those sorts of things are kind of risk factors for it to be more of an invasive infection. If it gets to the point of it being an invasive infection, it has a very high morbidity associated with it. So that's why we're really keeping a close eye on it. And we work really closely with the healthcare facilities if they ever have a case. We're working with them on making sure that they're aware of Candida auris. They're doing increased screening protocols as well. So that's kind of like yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Anything else, Michelle?
The only other thing I wanted to mention is, you know, we have National Public Health Week. This is National Public Health Week this week, so we are collaborating with U of M. They'll be here, we'll be here tomorrow. There will be a lot of people there. But on June 10th, we are doing our first, as far as I know, Genesee County Health and Resource Fair, and we're collaborating with Human Resources, so that's open to the public. We have a section for employees and retirees, and we're really excited, and we are getting a lot of interest. So we plan to take her over to the first floor, or at least the 100, go along the walkway along the side, and we're also trying to work with U of M as a backup plan in case it rains, so that we can get in the building and the park there. So we're really excited, and as we get closer, we will definitely ask for your help to promote it and hopefully show up and talk to the residents. And so we plan to have a big turnout, and hopefully this is something we can do annually, and it goes really well. We will also have food trucks out there, so that will be a draw. Okay?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Commissioners, later on our agenda, we have a resolution dealing with RX Kids. And I'm pleased to have with us this evening Dr. Mona Hanna to tell us all about it and all about the benefits and the outcomes of RX Kids.
Thank you. Are we going to lower this for me? Okay. Actually, this is so cool. Chair, thank you. Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity to be here to give you an update on a program that was born here in Genesee County that is actually going to Liberia. So it's amazing that we have someone from Liberia here, because this is soon to become an international program, but once again started here because we do amazing things here. So I'm going to give you an overview of ARCS Kids. You're all getting a packet about it. We call it a prescription for health, hope, and opportunity. And it really was born across the street. So my clinic is over there above the farmer's market, where I have the great joy of Genesee County children. And as a pediatrician for about 20 years, it's been frustrating to not be able to treat something that really makes kids sick. You know, we do a lot of band-aiding, we treat infectious diseases, and we repair broken bones and treat the sniffles, and thank goodness RSV season is almost over. But it's been really frustrating to not be able to treat the socioeconomic conditions that are some of the greatest predictors of health outcomes. We know that a child born in one Flint census tract actually lives 20 years less than a kid in another part of Genesee County. So these, what we call social determinants of health, social drivers of health, are the greatest risk factors to your health outcomes. So because we do amazing big things in Flint, we decided, and in Genesee County, we decided, hey, we're no longer going to keep band-aiding and spending a lot of money after the fact. Let's try to see if we can actually prevent poverty like they do in most other countries of the world where they do child allowances. In 2021, during COVID, we expanded the child tax credit as a nation, and we dropped child poverty to the lowest level. And that improved all these amazing outcomes. And that unfortunately was not renewed in the U.S., but in the U.S. Senate by one vote, millions of kids went back into poverty, and all those outcomes reversed. But that became a reminder that, hey, child poverty is a policy decision. We can fix it with some really smart innovations. So ARCS Kids was really kind of born out of extensive evidence from around the world and from the U.S. That says supporting families in a time-bound way can really improve health and prevent problems. So that you can think of this as a maternal infant health program. The poorest time in people's lives is around childbirth. Income drops, babies are expensive, which is one of the reasons that population are going down, because people aren't having children because they're so expensive. So the poorest time in people's lives is around childbirth. And that's actually the most consequential time. So as a pediatrician, as early childhood experts, as I think we've increasingly come to recognize that this brief window of life shapes your entire life course. The first year of life is so consequential. A baby's brain actually doubles in size in that first year of life. So ARCS Kids is laser focused on moms and babies. Every pregnant person, which once again started in Flint, every pregnant person gets $1,500 after mid-pregnancy. And then once a baby's born, it's $500 a month. And this was is funded as a public-private partnership. The Mott Foundation was the first funder that came in with a $15 million grant. Since then, we have raised over $400 million from the municipal governments, local governments. The state of Michigan is our largest funder, and dozens of foundations who have come together, and businesses and corporations and healthcare institutions that have come together and said, we can do something differently. What was born in Flint is now in 42 Michigan communities. Our latest expansion was the entire Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We're in all of the UP. We're in several counties in northern Michigan. We just launched Montmorency County. We're in the city of Detroit, thanks to Mayor Sheffield. Tomorrow we are launching in two communities in Mount Clemens, in Macomb County, Mount Clemens and Centerline. So the way that ARCS Kids works is that we have a good amount of funding from the state, more funding, thanks to bipartisan support. Last year in the fiscal year 2026 budget, ARCS Kids received $250 million from the state, which provides significant support over 3 years. However, that state funding needs to be matched, not one-to-one, a very small percentage, by other money to make it possible to expand to other communities. But the leverage is tremendous. We heard about leverages today. It's almost a 9-to-1. So $9 from the state, and really only $1 from a community to make it possible in a community. We had an application process. We had dozens of communities saying we want to be part of this, and we're now kind of bound by the amount of state dollars that we have left to expand. So I want to share a little more about what we've learned since ARCS Kids has started, and then get into kind of why I'm here. So once again, this started in Flint in January 2024. So we have 2 years of tremendous outcomes, which is why the program has become so popular, so bipartisan supported, because of these outcomes that are improving health, which is the goal, saving dollars, and also putting lots of dollars back into local economies. So let me share some of those outcomes real quickly. We have a tremendous take-up rate, a near 100% take-up rate, which is incredible. We compare that with birth certificates. We know how many babies are born in the community, and we know how many babies are in the program. So people are signing up for the program. People are signing up. It's a very simple kind of application. It's run by Michigan State University. I'm a professor at Michigan State University. Once again, my office is right there. My clinic is right there. But it's administered by the global leader in cash transfers, a nonprofit called Give Directly. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We didn't want money to go to bureaucracy. We didn't want to spend years in procurement. These are people who do this work, and they do it well. High take-up rate, really easy to sign up, lots of safeguarding and fraud detection that's built into the system. Other things we've learned, we've improved healthy pregnancies. More mamas are coming in prenatal care. We had a publication about Flint data. At a population level, we increased prenatal care use. Mamas are going earlier, they're going more often. We even have less smoking in the 3rd trimester. So we have a decrease in substance use. We have healthier babies, and this is why we are doing this. At a population level, we are decreasing the rate of premature babies, low birth weight babies, NICU admissions. We estimate about 40 less babies were admitted to the NICU in Flint on the first year that this started. Those are saving dollars acutely. They're saving healthcare dollars. We're also seeing a significant prevention of child welfare involvement. The peak age of involvement in the CPS system is the first year of life, largely related to the economic instability of that window. We are seeing a 30% reduction in child welfare involvement. So less people getting involved in the system, which is expensive and can tie a kid up into foster care until about 18 years of age. So improved health, cost savings, improvements in maternal mental health, decreased anxiety and depression, decreased stress. And then we have a report here in your packet from the Upjohn Institute, which was also very similar to a report that came out from the Genesee group about the economic stimulus of this program. To date in Flint, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but about how much money has gone into, I think we've prescribed over $10 million since this program started in Flint. These $10 million have gone into the hands of thousands of families in this community. Those dollars are spent locally and quickly on things like small businesses, grocery stores, landlords. We saw a 90% reduction in evictions in our first year in our families. And that's creating downstream jobs and also almost a threefold multiplier in the local economy. So dollars are recirculating. And then I'll also add, we talked about population issues earlier. The population of the city, for the first time, is stabilizing. Last year was the first year we actually had a non-declining birth rate, so we had more babies born in Flint, and mainly to older mamas, first-time mamas, and higher educated mamas. And that was after a 20-year kind of decline in births. So lots of tremendous outcomes from the program, which is once again why in the last budget, we received significant funding to expand the program. So we're expanding to other high-need communities. Flint is, as you know, not the only city in our county that is struggling. that has a high rates of poverty, that has high rates of maternal infant health issues. We would love to be able to share this program as we are sharing it with dozens of other communities in the state. We'd love to be able to expand this program to other high-need communities. This is a place-based program. It's for places, be it a county, a zip code, a city. We've identified several cities in Genesee County that would benefit from this program. And once again, we are able to leverage a lot of state dollars to implement this program with a very small commitment from the county and from other funders. I'm happy to answer any questions. This packet has tons of information. It has all of our outcomes. It has kind of the map of where we're at. The last 2 pages really kind of share the bipartisan support that this program has gotten from the Upper Peninsula to Benton Harbor to all over the state.
Yeah, board members, it's number 4 on your agenda if you want to take a look at it. But we will have a substitute resolution for that instead of the resolution that's in your agenda packet.
I'd also like to add, if I can, so I've been in front of many county commissions now. So Wayne County Commission put in $7.5 million to support this in Wayne County, Kalamazoo County, Oakland County, the list of counties. Many counties have come, and other cities have also, for example, City of Flint contributed money, have been part of this. So we didn't ask for money for Flint. We raised about $40 million on our own for Flint. But we are excited to be able to bring this to other Genesee County.
Any questions? Dr. Brown.
Thank you for coming, Dr. Atisa. And so the dollar amount that's being requested, I guess, in this substitute resolution is a part of the match that is being required?
Yeah, so if we were to do this for our next highest need communities in Genesee County, and I think we're looking at Mount Morris, Montrose, Flint Township, Mount Morris Township, Genesee Township, and Montrose Township. All those communities have very high Medicaid birth rates, which is a really great indicator of need during the mom-baby window. For those communities, we would be able to draw down about $3.5 million from the state. The state would provide $3.5 million. And what we would be asking for, the gap is about $450,000. So for $450,000, we would be able to draw down $3.5 million from the state. So once again, it's almost a 9-to-1 leverage here. And this is a commitment from the state for 3 years. So we would be able to run this program for 3 years in these places, and these dollars would flow right back into these communities.
The outcomes are really, really impressive. I remain amazed at how this ripple effect has impacted our community and the economy. So thank you for the work that you've done and getting this started and for making it a hallmark of this community.
I mentioned earlier, I get calls every day that places want to be like Flint. Like, we want to be like Flint, how do you do this? And 10 years ago, I wasn't getting those calls. So it is pretty incredible to really be able to build a model of how better to care for our children. So, and it's being noticed significantly. And we are moving measures that haven't been moved. These are stubborn measures. It's really hard to move rates of prematurity. And even if you don't care about moms or babies or health, this is a pretty phenomenal economic development program. This is creating jobs, and it's creating lots of dollars flowing back into the local economy.
Yep. Commissioner Llewellyn and then Commissioner Wayhill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With this program, how many times can the same family apply and be accepted?
Yeah, so it's these dollars would last for 3 years. So it depends on how many children people can reapply if they have another child within that 3-year window.
That's what my question was. So it's kind of without limit within that window.
Right, whatever is physically possible.
Okay.
Commissioner Wayhill?
No, I don't know. Are you finished, Mr.? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the 6 communities that are listed for the 1.2 million, and it's 400 and some thousand a year times 3, which gets us to the 1.2 figure. As I understand it, all of them, and you more or less said this, but they're all over 50% Medicaid birth rate within those communities.
Yes.
And that's the criteria that we used, or you used, or we all used to put the resolution together.
Yeah, after Flint, which is definitely has a 80 to 90% Medicaid birth rate, Flint is by far still the most poor, the highest need. But all of these exceed about 57% Medicaid birth rate.
Okay.
The state average is about 45%. So these are all above average in terms of need. We define need differently. For example, we're in the entire Upper Peninsula, and one of those reasons that we're there is to address rural poverty, closing of hospitals. There's other reasons that, justify need, but the most objective measure of need is that Medicaid birth rate, and that's why these communities are
And
up
then
top of the list.
In the second half of the resolution, be it further resolved, we've added Clio and Burton because they're not quite as high as the 6. We're including them. If match funds become available at the state level, we would incorporate them. And only if match funds became available would that trigger their entry into this. Is that right?
Yeah, that's brilliant. We would love to add Burton and Clio. They are the next on the list in terms of need. But right now, our state funds are limited. And if those are freed up, if our state funds were also cut by the clawback that happened in December, the House Appropriations Committee took away $18 million from ARC's kids from a fiscal year 2025, already approved, already legislated. So if those are restored, then there's an option to add more communities.
So so total of 8 communities potentially, right?
Yes.
6 plus the 2. All of them, those are the only 6 out of all 33 municipalities that are above the 50% threshold for the
Correct.
Medicaid. And then I'll just add that I've had a couple conversations with Senator Cherry.
Mm-hmm.
He's very interested and supportive of this program.
He made it happen initially.
He is actively searching for dollars so that we can include Burton from the state side, match dollars for Burton and Clio based on a couple conversations I've had with him. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Commissioner Cousineau.
Not so much questions, just comments of why this hits so many buttons for me as to a yes vote. And, I did have a conversation with the doctor before coming in here, but you all have listened to me many times speak about some of these issues, and that poverty is not just in Flint. It's in the Yount County, and this addresses that, and I'm glad to see that because there's so much poverty. Some of it's in pockets and et cetera, so it needs to be addressed. But we spend so much money in this county on health care, far above what the rest of the state spends per capita. And yet we're at the bottom of the state. I can't, all I can say is we're wasting money. And I spoke earlier about the investment thing, how we've just been throwing mud up against the wall and hoping something sticks. And we don't do any outcome assessments or anything. This, she has done that. This, you can verify that it's making a difference. And I'm going to have some more talk about some other issues on some millages and et cetera that addresses this. But this is so vital and so important to me in the healthcare industry, like she is. It's it isn't in my realm of expertise, but yet I do know the effect that this has on families. And at one point in time, when my wife and I were having children, it is a hard time. It really and truly is. And we need to give these children a fighting chance right from the get-go. But not only is that just rhetoric, she's proven it with outcome studies. And I appreciate that. I appreciate everything you've done for this community, and not just this, but a lot of other things, too.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Dr. Brown and then Commissioner Cruz.
I just wanted to add that I shared a story with the board about babies coming upstream a couple of months ago. And, you know, why is the community of care taking care of all these babies, and one person automatically leaves the community of care and they go back and say, I'm going to go find out where these babies are coming from. This is what this program is doing. You are hitting it from the start, and, you know, there is much more investment to be seen and realized when you solve the problem at the root cause. And so that's what this is doing. My question to you is you said you've raised $400 million since the inception of the program, but at one point, this was a radical idea, right? And nobody had ever heard of it before. And you had a lot of skeptics, right? How did you overcome that skepticism and get people to buy in to the tune of $400 million?
Well, you know, the Mott Foundation took that first risk with the $15 million, but they set it up as a challenge grant. They said you can't get this money unless you go out and raise more money. So then we were able to, with the support of Senator Cherry, draw down TANF funds from the state of Michigan. So for those who don't know, TANF is a Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. In 1996, President Clinton reformed welfare and created a flexible state block grant. So the state of Michigan gets about $750 million a year that they're supposed to use for temporary assistance for needy families. It's supposed to go to poor families. But because of the flexibility, it's largely misused. There was a big article in the Wall Street Journal a couple weeks ago about how it's just massive fraud. And before RX Kids in the state of Michigan, only 7% of the state's TANF dollars was actually going to cash assistance. It was going to bureaucracy and administration and all these other programs. And at one point, it was going to college scholarships for middle-class kids. So we pitched to the state of Michigan, hey, this is the proper way of using TANF. Here's a time-bound program that's science-based, that's prevention-driven, and why don't you let us see if we can make this possible? So we put it in the fiscal year 2024 state budget. Senator Cherry championed it, and Flint got $16.5 million to support this with TANF dollars. But it was still a public-private partnership. It was only then 30% state-funded, but about 70% privately funded. And we were able to, that was the money that was needed really to launch it in Flint to prove that this was possible. And then we quickly started to share the outcomes, and people started to hear about this. And then my phone went off the hook because everywhere in the state wanted this. They're like, we also have families struggling with affordability, cost of living, childcare, housing, mental health, healthcare access, the list goes on. And here's one simple solution that delivers. So the governor in fiscal year 2025 put in $20 million on her own without even us asking, and more TANF dollars to spread this across the state. Kalamazoo, they had another champion, the Stryker Foundation, that came in at $5 million and made that happen. And then we made it happen for the Eastern UP. And then once again, interest really grew because the outcomes were once again showing that this is a massive return on investment. And also that it's once again bipartisan supported. Everybody loves babies. It's fiscally responsible. It's not growing government. It's supporting families in a time-bound way to make sure that families have the resources they need. Flint and Kalamazoo are actually the only communities where this program is up to 12 months, prenatal to 12 months. What we're proposing for the remaining Genesee County communities is the shorter version of the program, which is the majority of communities. It's just prenatal to 6 months. It's just a tiny, tiny program. So it resonated with so many folks, and then in the last budget, we got a massive amount of money, $250 million, and we've been really kind of traveling the state and meeting with folks because there's so much interest to bring this to their communities. So it's data-driven, it's evidence-based. It sounds like a radical idea, but it's not. 70% of countries in the world do child allowances to the age of 18. That's normal. And every peer country has paid leave when a baby, and we're one of the only countries in the world that doesn't support mamas and babies. So it is anomalous to not have that Social Security during this brief window.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I can tell you're passionate about what you do. That's a great start for anything. I just had a couple questions, maybe not more for you, but for someone on the board. But my one for you is this. Commissioner Kuzo had mentioned, you know, it's nice to see it expand out to, because other areas have poverty. I mean, I'm looking for names in my district, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I've got people who live in poverty out where I am, and there's not a single area. Fenton has it, Linden has it. I got seniors that can't pay their water bill. I'm sure there's babies that can't, or moms and babies that can't pay their water bills. We've got apartments out there. We've got state-supported apartments out there. So I'm just wondering, what's it take to be part of this?
Yeah.
Are we penalizing people who are low income because they've chosen to live out in my district? Because the rest of the people have money, but they don't. So that's my question. How do I make sure that my residents who are struggling get their fair share? So, because the way it looks right now is what you're saying, because they take income threshold basically throughout the area, like example with Clio, is that what they did, and compared it to whatever the threshold is to qualify for the program, as far as poverty level, or?
Yeah, we look at the Medicaid birth rate, so we look at the percentage of babies that are born in that community that are on Medicaid, which is kind of a proxy for poverty in this maternal infant period. I agree with you. I think it should be available to everybody. That's why so many counties have come on board. We have dozens of counties that are part of this program. But we don't have enough state funds to do entire places, which is why this is, you know, focusing on the highest need places. It's gonna launch in a place in Kent County. We're launching actually in just one zip code, which is the most high need kind of community in that county, which is just a zip code. So this is a program not for people. I know there's struggling people, the struggling people in Grosse Pointe and Bloomfield Hills and everywhere else. There's people struggling. This is a program for struggling places. I mentioned earlier that the issue about, you know, your zip code predicting your life expectancy. It's hard to be a poor person, but it's even harder to live in a poor place because you have more violence, you have worse environmental quality, you have you lack safe places to play. It's hard to find fresh fruits and vegetables. So it's all of these other geographic issues that we're also trying to treat. It's not about treating an individual, it's about treating a place. But I agree with you, I think we should do this all over.
So, just so I understand, if we were to add other communities, let's give an example, just not even my district, Grand Blanc Township, they're not gonna qualify for what? Because we're giving you money from account number 2210, which I believe it's a grant. Yeah, the health department, but those grants. So we're correct, or where are they from? But where's most of the money come from? We give a little each year, we're required to, and then what's the?
From a little each year that we give that they don't spend.
Okay. So those are the funds, and now you're telling me that my residents who pay the taxes to create those funds can't participate in it. That's a really, you know, this is the problem where I sit down here and I go, man, the out county or other areas just keep taking it on the chin. Because guess what? It would be nice if our residents who are lower income could have some additional assistance or so on and so forth. This is, you know, what's very frustrating. It has come from that portion we contribute in there. And now I look at my residents and go, you don't get to participate in it. Even though your neighbor over here who lives in those apartments, you want to help them, but you can't. That's a crummy way to run a program.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating for me when I'm running clinic and I can't offer this to my patient in Flint Township because they don't qualify. So we are the largest and most inclusive program of its kind. We are literally running the largest anti-poverty program in the country. I wish we could include more people, but we don't have the funds to do that. But the entire region is benefiting from the economic stimulus. If you look at this Upjohn report and the Genesee Group report, once again, the jobs that are being created because of this are in the region, as well as the benefits to the small businesses and childcare facilities and landlords. That is a regional benefit.
Any further questions? Dr. Brown.
I would just add and echo what Dr. Mona was saying about the social determinants of health. And one of the reasons I believe that, you know, several reasons that I believe that these dollars should be concentrated by area is not only because of the poverty, but the social determinants of health add layers and layers of obstacles on these communities that is, you know, with this, the help of this program is being mitigated by,
you know, having them have RX kids. And so we have to understand the big picture of all of these social determinants of health and how they can help move the needle for our county as a whole. And it's about helping the critical mass of people that need the help the most with all of these layers of social determinants that are against them. And so again, I just want to take my hat off to you and thank you for, I'm glad you're a resident of Genesee County.
I'm not.
You're not?
No,
Okay.
no, Oakland County,
Well-
but I'm here every day.
Well, I'm glad you're here every
Thank
day.
you.
And thank you for writing a phenomenal book, too. I read your
Thank you.
book, and it was
Thank
really
you.
quite compelling.
Thank you. I love this city. I've loved this city since I was a medical student here 20-plus years ago, so this is where my heart is.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Either to Mr. Freeman or to Crystal. So you said these funds will come from the Health Department fund balance. What's the total of that fund balance right now?
Crystal will correct me if I'm wrong, it's between $7 and $8 million. Yep, so the unrestricted
And this is
portion-
the GHP,
No,
GHS,
no,
Health Department.
yes.
Okay.
Third time's a charm.
CHD.
So
Gosh,
it's
if you
third
would-
one. So between 8 and 10 million right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, this amount that's here isn't even the interest that they collected last year
Sure,
on that fund balance.
And I'll get with Crystal later
Yeah.
to see how much adds to that every year.
And once again, that's been, we're able to draw down over 3 years about 11 million from the state.
Yep. Any other questions? Thank you very much, Dr. Mona.
We have a parting gift for all of you. So the program also has spokesbearers that are. So we're gonna hand them over to maybe Josh. You can have our bag of spokesbearers that you can hand out that you can take as a memento, really as a thank you on behalf of the Genesee County babies. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Okay,
Oh, it's adorable.
I thought you were handing out puppies for a minute. That's how bad my eyes are from that distance. I was all excited, so.
Thank you.
wow. What I always wondered. Okay, I'm going to entertain a motion for consent agenda.
I will support it, but I'd like a couple items removed if I may, Mr. Chair.
Okay, yeah, let's do the motion and then we can do the separate.
I'll move it as consent.
Support.
Okay, so properly moved and supported for the consent agenda, separations.
Item 3, 4, 5, please.
Okay, items
And
3, 4,
item
and 5
and
are separated. And 8. Okay, so, all in favor of items 1, 2, 6, and 7?
Support.
Say aye.
Yeah, it is
Aye.
Well, I didn't ask for discussion, but if,
Aye, Mr. Chair.
all right. Okay, resolution 2026-0343. Approval of a grant award amendment from VAAA for a revised total of $1,072,509 to provide for additional senior meal programming. The budget for this grant award amendment is attached.
Move it.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Discussion.
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
I was just, would like to get, and I just wanted to bring this up now, if we could get a count of what those numbers are, of how many meals they serve for what they what's spent, so we can kind of evaluate that and track how it's going and the effectiveness of it, that would be wonderful. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other questions? Now, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution, I'm gonna drop this resolution and ask that we add, the resolution.
I'll move the new resolution.
Pardon?
Support.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
It was moved and supported.
Oh, you're adding.
I move to add this to the
Okay,
agenda.
all right, thank you. Okay, it's been properly moved and supported. Any discussion? All right, Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2026-0382, approval of a purchase order to Mass Transportation Authority for the fiscal year ending 2026.
Mr. Chair, I think we voted to add it to the agenda.
Oh,
Now
I'm
we have
sorry.
to vote to
Oh,
approve
right,
it.
right, okay. Thank you. Okay, now on the motion.
I'll move it.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have, motion carries. All right. Resolution 2026-0382, approval of purchase order to MTA for fiscal year ending 2026, an amount not to exceed $5,000 to provide for programming supplies to provide transportation assistance. The cost of this purchase order will be paid from the following account.
Move it.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Discussion. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Just as I've said before, we're collecting a millage from quite a few people, and then we're constantly handing out dollars. And if you look at some salaries, am I wrong on that, where this is going?
This is going to the Healthy Start clients, and part of the federal grant is to remove barriers. So this is to help them to get to the appointments and different things like that. So
Yeah,
this-
just kind of like the last one, Michelle, which is, my first is not with what we're doing with it. I think I just think we could do more with these grant dollars, and MTA should be a partner in this since they're collecting taxes from our residents, and they're one of the largest one of the larger millages I believe we have. So, like I said, I understand where you're coming from, and thank you.
Okay.
And, but I'm just letting everybody know I will continue on these to be a no, because I do not think the funds, one, are being fairly allocated. And like I said, there's many other reasons, but thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Michelle. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Resolution 2026-0388, approval of a budget increase to the Mundy Township Senior Enrichment.
That was part of the consent.
That was part of the consent agenda.
You're down
Oh,
over
I'm
8.
sorry. Where are we at, 7?
Eight.
8. Approval of request to place a renewal question on the August 2026 ballot for the health services millage.
I'll move it. Support.
Properly moved and supported. Discussion. Commissioner Flewelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Crystal. She's still here? Yeah.
And Jim Melanowski is also here if he wants to.
Thank you, Crystal. I think I've got the right one this time. So this is the one that has, what's the collection every year? 12 million?
The health services, that's GHS, right?
No, GHP. I've got the
GHP.
spreadsheet in front of me.
This is GHP, this
See, I'm
one.
with you, Commissioner.
That's what I thought. 12 million?
I would have to look, I'm not sure, but they're the ones that do the reimbursement, request. I think they spend, is it about
I've got the
5 to 6
spreadsheet in front of
million?
me.
But
Okay.
how much do they collect in total? I can't remember off the top of my head.
So this year, they're budgeted to collect 12.5 million.
Okay, and is this the one with the 8 million or $10 million
I'm sorry.
fund balance? What's your
Fund balance,
I think it has just
as
over
of
7 million.
9/30/25, they had $10 million in fund balance. They're expected, and this is dependent on what happens with the hospitals, because we pay for the indigent care out of hospitals. They're expected at the end of 9/30/26 to have $7.1 million.
Okay, I was thinking 7, but I can't remember which fiscal year that was.
Yeah, this one we've talked about a couple times, and
Yeah.
that number, so, thank you.
Anything else, Commissioner? Okay. Commissioner Kuzno.
This goes to a little bit into what I was earlier stating, and the good doctor also confirmed. But, you know, we, first of all, in this country, we spend twice the amount on health care than any other country in the world, and yet our outcome is less than most of the rest of the world. That's on a national or world scale. Now you get to the state of Michigan. We spend more per capita on our residents for health care than any other county in the state of Michigan. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, maybe they can verify it, but this may be a unique millage to Genesee County only. And yet, ever since I can remember, and I've spoken with prior health directors, we're at the bottom of the state year after year. And why? And I have actually referred patients to receive some of these benefits, so I know it works. But the world has changed a lot since this millage first come into effect. Not as many people need it. They have more money than they know what to do with. They have spread out to give money away for different programs and what this was originally intended for many, many years ago. And yet I have never seen one document or any outcome studies that this has helped this community. Our community is very, very generous in these different millages that we have for health care in this county. We're not getting anything in return. And I will not be able to support this because I have never seen any outcome studies that this has helped anyone. It has not reduced infant mortality like what the prior doctor could explain what they were doing. It's shown nothing. And I know at one point in time, we audited or had Plant Moran look at their records. They couldn't figure out where they've been spending the money over a decade or two. The money's just, I don't know what they've been spending it on. So I will not vote yes to put this back on the ballot at this point in time. Now, you know, that's me, but I'm adamant about it. We need to spend our money differently in this county. We have other needs, and you're gonna see more and more coming, economic needs. We have more needs coming in than what we can provide. But yet this is a lot of money that's being, I don't know if misused is the right word or not, but we're not getting any outcome from it. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Kuzno. I feel the same way with a lot of these millages. I think there was a different point in time for this, and when I start seeing surpluses of $7 million, and then we're sending this money also to the hospitals because we're covering the care they can't cover, and their executives are making huge salaries. I don't think that's really financially responsible. What I think we should do, because we can still use this for good, and we could still use it as a launching pad to maybe revisit this, I believe, and turn it into something that everyone on this board can agree will benefit the community as far as health care, and we can rework this. So what I would suggest, and I would like to do, is maybe all of us, and we could do it through Charles's committee, create a questionnaire, what we would like to see, what we would like to see changed, give that to the health department, Mr. Freeman or Charles, if we want to go that route, and then come back to this. Because $7 million is a lot. And then if you start looking at what we give these hospitals, and then their executives are making some crazy money, and they're saying that they're crying poverty, you know, it just seems very wasteful. And I think we can use these funds like the residents want us to effectively. And sometimes things need to change to do that effectively. And I think there's some language in here on this that might we could probably put in to make Commissioner Kuzno happy. I think maybe a reduction if we can't change the language and make Commissioner Flewellen happy, so there's not such a surplus, and there's other things in there to make myself happy. So if we're gonna move forward tonight, like I said, I'm a no, but if we wanna rework this, I would totally be in support of it once we get some things changed. So, thank you, Mr. Chair, very much.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Flewellen?
Yeah, just to support what my colleagues to my right have said. So my confusion tonight came from, well, first I didn't realize our health department had an $8 million surplus of fund balance. GHP has an $8 million surplus. GHS, I can't even find the paper that it fits on to see what their fund balance is. All millage funded. All millage funded with well over $10 million in each of these. In the GHP and the GHS, what are we doing? Our local municipalities have infrastructure needs, they have public safety needs. They can't get those passed. Because everybody and their brother in this county votes yes on every one of these millages. 3,258 members of GHP we have in front of us in a county of 400,000. $12 million, $7 million surplus. Personally don't think anything needs to be relooked at. I think we can look at their books and we can see how there's $58 million in OPEB surplus in GHS. Cool. What's our fund balance, Crystal? Negative 680 million, something like that, in OPEB? You know, I mean, come on, what are we doing? Something like, and I'm sure you've all gone to your municipal meetings. And around a certain time of year, there's a lot of people there that want to complain about their tax bill. But if you look at your tax bill, which we all get, how much of that stays local? Very little. We've had schools that have lost elections. We've got municipalities that are getting money from the state to fix roads and fix water mains. But yet, for years, we've been okay with $7, $8, $10 million fund balances in these millages. In my opinion, it's time to stop. Your water bill keeps going up because there's a leak. What do? You fix it. Mr. Chair.
Any further discussion? Dr. Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just add to the sentiment that's already been shared and ask a series of what-if questions. And if this, first of all, we're not a for-profit entity. So I'm really struggling, and I have been struggling with such a huge fund balance and having money sit there. And so my what-if questions are, what if some of that money could be used for RX Kids to help with that upstream, problem? What if we use some of that money to help fund an innovation district? What if taxpayers help fund courts so we wouldn't have such a backlog in courts? What if we could fund a new jail? What if we could fund more help for seniors? What if we could design a brand new Genesee Valley Mall? What if we demolished the old administration building? The list could go on and on and on. So we do have a number of other priorities, which forces us as a board, I think, to reframe our thinking and mindsets about older models, and we have to think about what is necessary for 2026 and beyond. So for those reasons, I won't be supporting this.
Mr. Chair, if I may, for one quick second, I want to make a correction because I don't want the folks at GHS to be angry with me. It's not 58 million, it's 49 million. And there is not 10 million, but $15.5 million as of 9/30 of '24 in the restricted for millage. So that's millage fund balance of $15 million. So again, I won't be supporting this. Thank you.
Just really quick, we have somebody here who I give a hard time, but once in a while he's pretty wise. He says, we don't have a revenue issue. We have a spending issue where we put our priorities. And this goes back to that, and I'm glad to hear Dr. Brown and Mark, Commissioner Kuzno, and everyone there, because there's only so much taxes I've told you guys before you can put on somebody, and then guess what? Everything breaks. And we all realize that our needs have changed over these years, so I'm happy to hear this, and I'm really excited, hopefully, that we'll work towards something different moving forward. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, if I might, just a couple of, I guess, factual questions so that I understand. The millage currently collects how much annually, roughly? 12.5 million. Of that, part of it is the Genesee Health Plan. Usually, what does that run? I know that there was an additional.
I believe our contract with them this year is about $7 million.
Okay, so of the 12.5 million, 7 million is for the health plan. Then we provide $1 million each to each of our 3 hospitals?
That fluctuates from year to year.
Okay, but is it upwards of $1 million each?
Not that much. Sometimes it's been a lump sum of $4 million that was split proportionally. I think last year it was $2 million.
Okay, and they use that for
Uncompensated.
indigent care, people that don't have any health insurance. So that's another couple million?
Yeah.
And then we use it to pay for all of the inmates or some of the inmates in the jail?
Crystal, what is the number for the jail healthcare? There's a lot of numbers in her head, so hard to pick one.
$1.5 million? Okay, I'm just trying to get a sense of where the entire amount that we collect, how it's divided. And the language in the millage that people vote on, basically it says this has to be used for people who do not possess any health insurance. I'm summarizing.
I don't have the language in front of me. I believe it's uninsured, low-income Genesee County residents. Jim, is that right? Yeah.
But it can't go for anyone that currently has insurance, I think, any form of insurance. Okay. What else? Oh, and then, so if we were to not put this on the ballot, when would this expire?
Is this a 27? 26?
Yeah, can we have Jim Melanowski come forward?
There's a lot of them.
Expires this November in 2026.
So if this were not to go on the ballot, it would expire, and then we would have a situation where we would draw down, I guess, on whatever the fund balance is for, if we chose to give money to the hospital still, some to GHP, and then the jail population, and once that's gone, we wouldn't have any replacement.
That's correct.
Okay. That's it for me, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to make sure I understood it.
Yeah, I'm going to give Jim an opportunity
I appreciate
to talk
that.
about.
Thank you. When you talk about fund balance of the healthcare services millage, that's not our fund balance, Genesee Health Plan. We have an arrangement with the county for a direct reimbursement. So for things like primary care, specialty care, radiology, labs, mental health, dental, those are invoiced to the county specifically to pay for those services for county residents. The rest of those dollars that aren't being spent is the county's responsibility. They're the ones collecting the millage. It's the county. This millage is not ours. It's the county's millage. And we contract with the county specifically to provide this network of services for the uninsured throughout Genesee County. And we are not a for-profit agency. We're a nonprofit.
That's fine, and
Yeah.
thank you for that, but
Yes.
at the end of the day, county residents are being levied $12.5 million for this millage, right?
That is correct.
And somewhere within the mechanism of this millage, there is quite a substantial fund balance.
Correct.
Whether that's with you or not blaming you for your operations or anything else. I'm just saying that within this particular millage, health services, there is a large fund balance, and we're still levying the same $12.5 million a year. But thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Now, Jim, can you provide this board with any type of data in regards to outcomes of the services that you provide?
Well, we are currently in a study with the Michigan State University School of Public Health and their School of Medicine. They are conducting a impact study on the health plan. So I should have outcomes. I mean, I submit every year how much money we spend on primary care and all of those items. But outcome studies, I'm not the outcome studies person. I'm turning it over to Michigan State to do that. And so they're giving us an impartial, independent review of the impact. There was an impact study done about 2010, 4 years after the initial millage was passed, and this will be the next impact study.
So do you have a target date for when that study will be completed?
As soon as they get it done. I'm hoping they can get it done quickly. But again, it's a project for their staff and their students. Again, we're not given dollars by the county for evaluation. That hasn't been part of our agreement. It's very specific, the agreement, and I would, certainly be able to go over that with you, but it's for certain services like direct health care services, like primary care, like specialty. So we have, through this millage since 2006, given over 300 million to providers in the community that care would have been uncompensated. Your residents, Commissioner Shoemaker in Linden, they would have to pay either out of their pocket if they were uninsured, or they wouldn't be able to go and see a medical provider without this millage.
Dr. Brown and then Commissioner Shoemaker.
So a couple of questions. Who's paying for the Michigan State University study that's being done right now?
No one's paying for it. They're doing it.
Okay. And when you said there was a 2010 impact study, can you give us an idea of do you recall any of the were you there during that time?
Yes.
Okay. Can you recall any of the outcomes during that study?
Well, I think the biggest outcome is a reduction in ER use and also uncompensated care at the hospital. I know that the county reimburses the hospitals, but that used to be a lot higher because these folks wouldn't be able to go see the doctor. They'd have to just go to the emergency room to get care. And so those costs had gone down with those use of those millage dollars, because people had a primary care doctor that they were assigned to, that they went to, they could get specialty care, get care for their cancer and other items. That's what this millage pays for, is cancer treatment and other things that these folks would not have the resources to pay for.
A couple of, just two more questions. So the reimbursement model, how long has that been in place?
For about 4 years, Mr. Freeman, I think it is, 4 years, 5 years, yes.
So before the reimbursement model went into play, do you recall what the fund balance was before that?
Well, a couple things. There was no fund balance that I'm aware of because those dollars, what we used to do before the change in reimbursement was we would be the ones to give the hospitals that reimbursement, and so it would equal out. How it used to be set up was that the millage was, the county would hold back some dollars, the health department would get some dollars, and then the rest would go to the folks in the community through Genesee Health Plan. And so, that changed, and now the county is, and what has changed over since 2014 is the fact that we had Medicaid expansion in the state. Before that, we used to have 30,000 Genesee County residents on Genesee Health Plan. We were able to get them into Medicaid expansion to have them pay for that. And so what we are left with those folks is that who don't qualify, or that they find themselves uninsured. They just lost their job and need health care. They might work 2 or 3 jobs. They work part-time jobs in places, but they're not offered that full-time benefit that a person gets, an employee gets. A lot of employers now are canceling insurance. They're not offering insurance to employees. Those are the people that we cover on the Genesee Health Plan.
And so, this is my last.
Okay, go ahead.
So I heard what Commissioner Wayhill said about the implications of not putting it on the ballot right now. And so the resolution reads, a request to place a renewal question on the August ballot. It doesn't really talk about the wording, or what's the wording, is the wording already there? Okay. So, I'm wondering if, and I'm just thinking out loud about, levying less. If, you know, if we can get away with levying less and still doing the necessary things that Commissioner Wayhill talked about.
So what the millage does is you are authorized by the public to levy up to X. There is no requirement that you levy that entire amount. You set those levy rates annually as part of your budget.
Okay, so we don't even need to put it on the ballot. We could just change the amount.
The ballot authorizes you to levy up to that amount.
Okay.
The millage authorization is expiring this year, so I believe the last year you could collect would be in the December tax. This is levied in December, is that?
I think it's
Yeah.
2026.
These are on your December taxes, so this would be the last year that you are authorized to levy this
So,
without
and
a renewal.
Josh, while you have the floor, now, the fund balance accumulates from the unspent portion that comes to the county. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
This is the county's millage.
Right.
And we collect that, and then we contract with GHP to provide that service.
Right, so it's not a GHP fund balance?
That's correct.
Right. Okay. Commissioner Shoemaker and then Commissioner Kuzino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You mentioned that you're getting your portion to put people on insurance, and the hospitals, the money we give to them is from us, which I totally agree and understand. My question is, though, we had one year we gave $4 million. Is there a mechanism for capturing those people so we can put them on insurance? Because every year we keep having to give because there's more and more people showing up to these hospitals. So I'm just wondering how you're going, hey, maybe we should put somebody in there or have an agreement with the hospital. Hey, guess what, when you get somebody in there that doesn't have this, maybe we should be reaching out to them the next day. Or maybe we should reach out to them a couple weeks later so we can put them on the plan. I'll be very frank, I've been critical of your organization before. And I'm not seeing that out of the box thinking that'll help us solve a lot of these problems, let alone this millage here. So when I hear you say we're only handling this, we're only doing this, on top of it, since this is passed, we've had the Affordable Care Act. We've had a lot of things that have changed the way this millage should be handled and things should be done. Like I said, I think it needs to be reworked, not just we can adjust it later. I don't believe that we should lock ourselves in to the way we've done things before, even if we drop the rate, or we can drop the rate. It can still make it this year. It can still be on there if we put something else forward. Just because it's not August, it can still make it. So I'm not concerned with that portion of it, because if it is valid and it has the merits which we state it does, then people are going to vote for it. And truthfully, how many countywide millages have we actually turned down? So that's another thing. So I'm not overly concerned with that. What the problem is Commissioner Flelling started to bring up, though, that some areas of the county are getting tired of these millages. And then what they do when the school millage comes up, or the health, or the fire department, or somebody else comes up, they vote them down. And that's what he's trying to get across, because we're keep providing these that don't really provide benefit. So next thing you know, yeah, they're going to vote no on this too. But guess what? When they're out in like Lake Fenton Schools a couple years ago, they got turned down for a sinking fund millage, because guess what? The people out there are tired of the millages. And that's where the damage is done. And we're responsible for part of that damage, because we continually put millages on there that don't affect local communities where they live. And we're asking them to pay this. So like I said, I want to rework this, but I appreciate everyone, and I really appreciate everyone's interest in this conversation. It's fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Kuzino.
As Commissioner Shoemaker mentioned it, a lot of things have changed over the last however long this millage has been going on, where there just isn't the need that there used to be. You got, 3,000 families? It used to be 33,000. Well, that's a big, big dip. I'm going to go back into my age again and being here too dang long. But these millages this board, meaning our predecessors, they never, they just added the millages, and the public was great, hey, give it to them, you know, do this, do that. This board never monitored anything. It just turned it over to everybody. And that's the way it was with everybody. You know, in your organization, they used to just take the whole shoot and kabang and send it over to them and never asked them what they really spent it on. Nothing. And then, I don't know if Mr. Shoemaker was here yet or not, but we started to ask questions. Not of your millage, but another millage. And we ended up and did an MOU on them, which they just threw one hellacious fit over. And then I asked the question of Mr. Freeman and others, well, what are all these other millages that we're collecting? Is there an MOU? Do we know what the heck's going on? The answer was no. So we started doing MOUs, and make a long story short, you know, and then we started talking to his organization about using some of that money for other things, like, you know, we really had a problem with the people in the jail. And I'm sorry, Jim, but I got a long memory, and I got some bitterness. You know, the political pressure that was put on us. Mr. Freeman is being very generous in how he's telling some of this story. Was terrible. And now we're changing things again, and this board, which I'm very proud of, is asking questions. What the heck is our priorities here? Government in general, instead of asking questions like what we're asking right now is, oh, well, yeah, we're doing it just earlier, you know, when we're talking about a public, what was that called, Dale? The safety millage. They're adding another safety millage and then moving the money, you know, but at any rate, it's still an increase any way you look at it. Government's action is always not to quit doing what you've been doing that don't work no more. Just add another millage. Let's start another program. Instead of asking the question, what are we collecting money for? It's not just this millage, it's other millages, as has been alluded to. Why are we taking in this money when they're just sitting on it? And then we don't even know the frickin' outcomes. There's no outcomes. And I know, you know, I don't mean to pick on people, but Dr. Brown, you're a very data-driven person. You know, I'd like to see something. And nothing. And the political pressure, whenever you try to change something, it's unbearable at times. And everybody has their own little agenda and what they're looking at, and different philosophies on how to run government. And we have the gamut here, and that's fine. That's what a board's about. But as I think that we're talking is that we need to take a closer look at our core values and what we're asking the public to provide for these services. We need to give them answers. But we have other priorities in life, in this community. Instead of, I've been trying to say this, and I'm finally getting some traction. We're wasting money on, we're spending all this money on health care, and yet we're at the bottom. So we're spending it the wrong way. We're just plain spending it the wrong way. And it's not just this millage, it's everything. And it starts now with this. You know, we can take and lower the levy down, and we've never done that. I don't know a board that's ever done it. I'm sure if we do it, we're going to get pushback. I mean, that's just the way the community works. The people that are affected, they'll push back. They'll find political pressure to pick at you. It's just the way it works. But I'm not for putting anything on, even at a reduced level, until we take and figure out what to do with the money that we're asking our residents to provide us with. For sense.
On that note, Commissioner Wayhill, it is the county's millage, so we can answer that question. This board can answer that question that you just asked. I mean, we don't want to not do the millage and throw everything at risk when we control the millage and we can configure it any kind of way we want. If we want to put benchmarks to GHP and metrics and all of that stuff.
Okay,
in the
excuse me,
MOU.
Mr. Chair, I have the floor.
Continue.
And I don't want to get into an argument, I just want to make a statement.
No, I just want to make that point to you, so
Okay.
continue.
Well, at any rate, I don't want to take and put this on and then figure out how to lower it down. I would rather just not do the millage at this point in time. We have a fund balance that we can pay to the jail, to a few other things. And then over the next, might take a couple years, we have the money to keep paying those things. Figure it out as to what to do, how much to ask our residents for. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion?
Just
Dr.
one
Brown.
more question for Jim. What's the expected delivery date of that study?
I would think we'd have that by, I would say June, July. They're just starting that effort. So it depends on how quickly they can turn it around. They just got the data.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My sense is that this doesn't have the votes to get on the ballot tonight, but I also have been listening closely to my colleagues who I think are very sincere about, you know, what we're asking taxpayers to do. We're sincere about the fact that we have people that don't have health care. We also very sincere about wanting better outcomes and wanting innovation and some cutting edge ideas. So I'm wondering, and we know that if we don't vote on it tonight, well, if it fails tonight, then that's a whole nother issue. But if we were to postpone it tonight, it could also always go on the November ballot if we decide to study it a little more, ask for some outcome data. If there isn't any, that's a whole nother issue. But also maybe look at what other communities are doing with this population, which is the uninsured. We may even decide that we want to use this millage rate not just for uninsured people, but for something different, more innovative, something that's geared towards outcomes, driven by outcomes. So I'm reluctant to vote no on it because I'm concerned about throwing people off. Well, I guess it'll, you know, we have a fund balance that we can spend now, but I'm concerned about the 3,000 or so people that are on here that will eventually not get care potentially. So I'll make a motion to postpone it to our April study session, 2 weeks. Should I put it, would it be better to put it in May? I mean, is there any appetite for that?
I support that.
Would you rather April or May? So we have. There's not much on April. I think your census thing is in April. So I'll make a motion to postpone this 2 weeks from today for a much more thorough discussion. And we'll have to figure out a mechanism where we can each write down our questions, our concerns, compile those so that staff can work with the chair and vice chair of Human Services to come up with a very robust agenda, so we're just not just talking and you know, talking in circles. But I think everyone here is absolutely sincere, as I said, and you know, let's puzzle this through, and maybe we won't come to any conclusions in 2 weeks, and then we'll have to make another decision. So I'll make a motion to postpone.
Has been properly moved and, to postpone. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes
Nay.
have it. Duly noted. The motion carries.
You guys always lump me in every time. I straight out got me in trouble with the paper one time and everything. I voted yes.
I voted no. Okay,
You know,
there's nothing else on the, Human Services agenda. Meeting is adjourned at, 8:59.
call the Public Works Committee to order, 8:59, roll call, please.
That's my cue, isn't it? Commissioner Lloyd? Winfrey?
Here.
Getzinger?
Here.
Brown?
Here.
Avery? Shoemaker? Kuzenow?
Here.
Llewellyn?
Present. Thank you. Resolution 2026-0421, approval of meeting minutes, March 11th,
Move it.
2026. Support. Moved and supported, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. No communications? Oh, I apologize. Public comment to the committee. Any public comment to the committee? For the third time, public comments closed. Communications? None. Report from Director of Administration?
No, sir.
None. No old business. New business? I will offer 1 through 12 as a consent agenda with
Or-
separations.
If you could,
that Brandon?
one, please, 8, 11, and 12, please.
10.
10 as well?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So we have on the consent agenda 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Any discussion on those? Nothing? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Did we do a motion and?
Yeah,
and
we
a-
had motion and support, correct? Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. Number 1, Resolution 2026-0236, approval of request by Genesee County Parks and Recreation for a contract amendment with Michael Van Valkenburg Associates for a total contract amount not to exceed $1,571,800 for the design and project administering services for the Chevy Commons Playground Garden Project.
So moved.
Got a motion? Support? Discussion? Any discussion? So, it was separated.
Yeah, I've reiterated why I won't vote for this a million times, so I think we can just move forward.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Yes, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nate? That's, motion carries with 2 noes. Okay. Number 8, Resolution 2026-0337, approval of a purchase order to Jack Doheny Company for the fiscal year ending 2026 in an amount not to exceed $70,000 to provide parts and repairs to drain equipment. The cost of this purchase order will be paid from the accounts listed.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Discussion. Commissioner Shoemaker.
I just have I want a little more detail on where the repairs are and what's going on with the drain equipment. Hi.
So it's for aggregate spending. We don't actually have $70,000 worth of payment. It's to get us, right now, we have a vac truck and a pump vac or a combo. And Doheny's sole provider in the last month and a half, both of those have been down, and we're close to the $30,000 aggregate spending. So we wanted to come here and ask for 70 to get us through the rest of the year. So if you read further down, I apologize for the miss. It's not for the purchase orders, for the aggregate spending in case we need the purchase order. So
If you could you introduce yourself, please?
I'm
for us?
sorry. I'm Sue Hogan, Deputy Drain Commissioner.
Hi. So, okay, that kind of explains where we're at. So is it fitting your budget then? Or is this an additional something?
No, this is in our regular budget.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure. And I also would like to thank you all for the price of the salary adjustments the board voted on. Our employees really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. 10, approval of a request to list the former Mount Morris Court and the Flushing Court buildings for sale via sealed bid.
Move it.
Support. Motion and support, discussion. Commissioner Kuzno.
Just a follow-up on the Mount Morris Court, did the people that were interested in that at one point in time, did they ever follow up? Is Derek still out there, or do you know anything,
I
Mr. Freeman?
spoke with Mr. Freeman, and they never did.
They never followed up, they never, okay, thank you. That's all I need to know.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Just real quick.
Mr. Shoemaker.
Our process is, when you say sealed bid, there's some ways you could do this. I'm sure we've approved it through Corporation Council, but I just want to confirm. We do not have to accept that sealed bid, correct? It's not a final sealed bid, it's a.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, thank you.
We
I just
discussed the
wanted-
minimum bid and
I just-
everything else.
I just wanted to
Okay.
confirm. Thank you.
Further discussion? Madam? You want to say them? Oh, okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
for a minute there.
Resolution 2026-0411, approval of ARPA funding reallocation of $300,301 from project savings to fund change order for Sentinel project at McCree and Circuit Court.
Move it.
Support. Motion to support. Ms. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Can we have some explanation of what the Sentinel project is?
There's Mike.
This project continues the door access system we installed in this building, the same one at McCree and Circuit Court. It wasn't originally purchased because there was existing wiring there, and when we started implementation on the second and third floors at McCree, we discovered the wiring was not up to par, so we have to replace it.
Go ahead.
Thank you. If I may, to the board, we've got to really make a decision on what we're doing with this building. Whether we're going to keep it or not, because you got 300,000 here, you got another, do I see it, 290,000 plus a 7% contingency in the next resolution. If you guys don't plan on keeping this building, I wouldn't be spending the money. For me, I have a couple ideas I'd like to throw by everybody, what we can do after seeing the cost of the new courthouses, of a way we could handle this more efficiently and effectively. But like I said, I'm gonna vote no on these, because if we can't come up with a plan what we're gonna do with McCree, it seems like wasted money. Where if we were gonna keep it, I'd be like, yeah, spend it and let's move on, but thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure. Further discussion. Dr. Brown.
So the cost of this, is it really to address the immediate need of more safety and security?
It is.
Mr. Chair, this was part of that discussion, this was in the works prior, but some of that discussion that we had at our workshop.
Right, 2 weeks ago. Yep.
2 weeks ago, yeah, about those security needs within McCree.
Mhm.
Even if this board decided tonight, to build a new building, we're 4 or 5 years away from moving in, and we still need these door access and security pieces within McCree. I won't speak to the other resolution, that's not on the floor, but this would still be something that we would recommend for that. And that 300,000 is not entirely for McCree. There is some work that is being done at the Circuit Court as well.
I'm sorry, did everybody else get a chance?
Anyone else? Commissioner Schumer. Yep. Commissioner Kuzno.
Late thinkers, slow, it's getting late.
Sure.
I understand what Mr. Shoemaker's saying, and however, we're still using and living in that building, and so we still need to provide for the security and safety of our employees and everything there. So I'll vote yes, but I understand his sentiment. We need to, if we're going to do something in the future, we need to make a decision quickly.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to understand. I know these concerns were brought up at the workshop, but I thought we'd address them, that this wasn't an issue. I don't remember it that way, but that's okay. Like I said, I understand where everybody's at with this. And I realize even if we do other things, we're a ways off. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention. And if you're telling me that there is a security issue, Mike, where are all these issues going to be addressed? And just upstairs? Is that all it is? We don't have access to these doors? Is that what the problem is?
Pretty well every door that requires an electronic, lock, including the exterior doors.
Is this in like where the health department used to be?
I could send you a list. I'm not sure exactly which doors. If they're not being used, probably not. I don't know if those doors are vacant now or not. No. If you like, I can give you a list.
Yeah, if you would, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2026-0427, approval of a construction contract between Genesee County and Sorensen Gross Construction Company with a total cost not to exceed $290,000 with a 7% contingency, $20,300 for the McCree District Court, courtroom number 2.
Move it with a question.
Support.
Motion and support. Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So can someone describe what this would entail, this construction piece for courtroom number 2?
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So currently, right now, the courtroom's been gutted. It was formerly the MIDC office. Prior to that, it was a courtroom. This would restore it so that they could use it as a courtroom or a referee room. Right now, it would include all the bench work. It would bring it up to code where it would be ADA accessible. It would have a jury assembly area or a jury trial area.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you. So, again, this is 300 grand though, that is not, these are not ARPA funds. These are general funds, capital improvement funds, from the money we borrowed.
I don't believe this is the money that we borrowed. Quarterly, we do sweeps from departments of unused dollars that this board authorized to put into the capital improvement fund to help
So
fund
it's not
these
from the
capital
borrowed.
pieces. I'm sorry?
Well, either way, I guess, if I have $10 in my bank account
Yes.
and I go borrow 10, I still borrow 10.
Well, it's not, it's not bond
I'm
money.
still paying interest on it either way though.
Mm-mm.
The capital improvement funds we borrowed, we are.
Mm-mm. These aren't borrowed funds, these are,
Okay, hold on. I have one pocket with money in it, and I could pay for it, but I didn't, I went out and borrowed money. So when
Yeah.
I say can pay for it, I still got borrowed money out there.
no, yes,
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
yes.
So you're still paying interest for something you
Right.
really didn't have to, which is not a good financial sound position if you've told most kids if they're learning in school, keep paying this interest on this, that's not smart. So my other problem is once again, we're back to the McCree building, which is $300,000 that we're gonna spend on this plus 7% contingency. I have a real problem with that moving forward. The other one I see, if it's for our employee security, guess what? And I misunderstood our last workshop evidently, that it can be fixed simpler than that. But this is a total, basically, remodel.
Well, this was always contemplated as part of the capital plan. So if you remember when the board adopted the capital plan to consolidate the district court buildings, that it was always contemplated that we would have to build out this former courtroom, which they're going to use, I believe, for magistrates. And then also when the board adopted a MOU with as part of the settlement for the lawsuit, you also agreed to build out that magistrate room.
If I may continue.
Go ahead.
When this board passed the capital plan as far as consolidating the courts, the deal was you're gonna move into McCree. Now we got a whole new plan, we're not moving to McCree, so we need to pivot. We can't still stick with the same thing. Because what we're told is we're gonna save money by closing down these courts, moving into the McCree building. At that point, now we've pivoted from there, because McCree supposedly has problems and all the other stuff. I just have a tough time spending that money when you don't know if you're gonna be in there. And in addition to that, like you said, we're gonna be probably 4 years in there, 3, 4 years, if you, it depends on what we decide to do, right? As a board. Yep. When's construction gonna start on this? When can they complete it? Because from what I'm hearing, everyone's behind, so if we're a year and a half before it's done, you're really only there 2 years.
I think Ray said it's already in process.
They could start as this spring, early spring, right away. I do have a schedule. It'd be done within like 2 months.
If I may, Mr. Chair. I'm gonna be a no today, but Ray, I would like to have a conversation with you about everything, because $290,000, I'd start right away too. You know, so, thank you.
Commissioner Getzinger.
My question is, since it's kind of a temporary thing, could we do it cheaper? I mean, you could build a house for $290,000. Is there a way that you could make it usable but not as sexy as you're gonna do it, or?
It would match the standards of the current ones and actually exceed it because of ADA accessibility. I mean, it's prevailing wage, which is a requirement. We have some costs that drive it up.
All set? Commissioner Wayhill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I sense the judges are interested in sharing, and we also have the court administrator. Now I know why the district court judges have been sitting through this entire affair.
We can entertain the judges briefly.
Well, and you know, Judge Goggins is a constituent of mine and a judge, so.
I agree with the cost of putting it in that building. I absolutely agree with that. The idea of us coming downtown was to consolidate all this down as quickly as we could to eliminate some of the expenses of these outlying courts, which is why I moved down. But the problem is, this particular one, we don't have any place for our magistrates. Since I moved down into the only court that was still available down there. Our magistrates, and 80% of my docket I do on Zoom. But the problem is, even doing that, we don't have any space for these magistrates to work out of. I have a magistrate that works some of my civil cases while I'm on the bench handling the other cases at the same time, so we can kind of multitask. But we need that space built out for formal hearings, for that type of thing with the magistrates. We have no place to put them right now. They're bouncing between our courtrooms downtown just to find available times, and we're all just kind of struggling to do that. And we talked earlier about our court dockets getting behind. Part of it is we get one out, we get a magistrate in for a little bit, they get tied up. Now I got to get somebody back in that can't get back on my docket because my courtroom's being used. So that's the issue. There are some standards that have to be done with those rooms, which is what he's alluding to. I don't mind something cheaper, that's for sure, because you're right. It doesn't make sense to put money into a building that, you know, if we're not going to be there, that's a lot of money. But the struggle we've got is, now that I'm downtown, now that Judge Haley is downtown, we need some working space is the problem. And I quite frankly, I gave up mine for the most part just so I could, you know, I'm pretty flexible with my Zoom meetings. I do a lot in my office, but I can't do it all the time. Like Davis felony cases, I gotta have a courtroom, you know. That's the problem we're running into. So
Okay.
And another issue that we have with.
You step to the microphone, identify yourself if you would.
I'm Helen Davis, the court administrator for 67th District Court. We also share the daily jail duty with the judges. So without having that extra courtroom, the 3 magistrates that we have left, including myself, we have to look at all the dockets and find a courtroom that the judges aren't using. And sometimes it becomes difficult, and if the judges have a full docket, they can't always do the jail duty. So this extra build, and I agree, we would hope for a new building, and it does seem like a waste of money, but we do need something temporarily until we can come up with a long-term solution.
Dr. Brown, do you have a question?
Yes, but, go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Judge Gwynn, City of Flint. When Judge Goggins and Judge Bear Haley moved downtown, they took up all of the available courtrooms. They displaced the magistrates that were using courtroom 5. So there's nowhere for them to go. like Ms. Davis indicated, they have to check, bounce from place to place. One of the things that the magistrates do is the duty rotation that I talked about the last time I was here. Somebody's on duty every day. I was on duty Tuesday, on duty again Friday. They alleviate, make time for other people to do other things, like the criminal docket that we talked about, the people that are in jail, the people that are being housed in jail. If we don't have anywhere for the magistrate to go, we can't help alleviate some of those problems that we're experiencing with the overcrowding with the jail, with the felony cases, with the people getting arraigned. We need somewhere for that person, that magistrate, to go so they can do their job. However long that's gonna be.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, whatever it takes to help eliminate that backlog and, you know, get those days down, I'm all for it. So if I don't know who can answer this question, but if we're investing $600,000 into the McCree building. With this particular courtroom, would it be possible if we do move into, if and when, I'm just gonna say when we move into a new facility, is it possible to recycle some of those, like take the bench and use it in the new facility, or will it be do you anticipate all brand new, different standard kind of, room?
I anticipate all new, up-to-date standards.
Okay. And are all the other courtrooms ADA compliant? I assume they are.
No, they are not.
So this is the only one that's gonna be ADA? Oh, okay, thank you.
I don't, oh,
No.
well, no, it's really not, it's got too many levels. You guys have, I've got a little elevator.
Are we talking in the entire county, this will be the only courtroom ADA compliant? I find that very hard to believe.
For district court, it would be.
Really?
Circuit court, no.
How big is this room?
It's
Big as this room?
It's the same size as my courtroom. All of them, it's a mirror image of my courtroom. The problem is, once you do construction to a certain point, you have to upgrade it. So it has to get upgraded to the 2026 standards. And that will be the only courtroom in that building that's been updated since that time period to make it compliant.
Okay. Commissioner Getzing, you're all set? Commissioner Kuzno, you were next. Slacker the bear.
Once again, I know it seems like we're spending money needlessly, but once again, we're trying to make things run as smoothly as possible for the courts to keep that jail population down. And, when you guys are bouncing all around, we're losing efficiency. And so it's all about efficiency, which is hard to put a dollar value on exactly how much it saves. But I know two of you, was out there to Phoenix with me looking at their system. And that was all about efficiency and a cultural change that maybe the efficiency created. I don't know which created what, but it's there. And that's what we're trying to do here. And there's going to be some times when we have to spend money that we really don't want to, and I understand how, I look at it the same way as shoemaker, but, I don't like spending it. But, I also understand why you need to have an efficient operation, as efficient as we can make it at this point in time, why we move to a bigger and better plan, if possible.
What's that? Yeah. Any further, Commissioner Shoemaker?
You didn't
Go
see
ahead.
me early, but that's okay.
Well, he raised his hand first.
I appreciate
I
it.
blocked him.
I appreciate it. Question for everyone there. Does there have to be a courtroom for the magistrates to meet in? Or does it have to be a space? Does it have to be an actual courtroom? for a magistrate.
They have actual hearings in that room that they can handle. So it's, and unfortunately, that's,
And there's a minimum size requirement, probably?
you guys know, as far as now, I know what the standards are, but
I don't know if there's a minimum size, but before, that was a courtroom. So this is just matching the dynamics where it was before.
no, that this is, it would be in trouble. Go ahead, please.
The actual capacity of this courtroom will be smaller than the existing courtrooms because of all the adjustments that they have to make to be ADA compliant. They have to build ramps going up to the court recorder's area and the judge's magistrate's area. There will be a jury box in there also. That has to have a ramp. So it decreases the capacity of the public to use by about 15, 20 people.
I'm just trying to figure out a way so we aren't spending as much to get you what you need.
You know, we haven't talked, but if I could go to a smaller room, because like I said, 80% of my stuff's on Zoom. I could, at times I needed a bigger room, we could switch that out. So I don't want to step on,
You've got the floor, but can I ask a quick question of these guys?
Go ahead, yeah.
but me going to, to save money, mine could be small, if I took over, that space.
Let me ask something to clarify with Commissioner Shoemaker's question. Is this room, courtroom number 2, only for magistrates?
Well, that's what was intended to be used.
Okay, so why do we need a jury box? I'm asking because I don't know.
Right, it was,
I didn't think magistrates did jury trials.
no, magistrates don't, but
Okay.
if there is ever a need for another judge to use a courtroom, let's say there's technical issues, which we have many times with our
Okay.
connections to the jail, they would have to go use another courtroom to be able to conduct their hearings. So it's anticipation of a need. in
Just
the-
trying to work through this. Magistrates don't need technology. So if you kick the magistrates out of that space, use it for a courtroom, now you're still in the same position you were before we spent $300,000, right?
Correct.
My question for that is, if you don't need the jury box, if this is just for magistrates, can you take that space, make 2 rooms, and be that much more efficient?
I'm not sure if you can make 2 courtrooms out of it.
No, 2
so-
magistrate rooms, if it's just for magistrates. Ray says no. Okay. Just a question. Commissioner Shoemaker, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys' interest in this. I appreciate that you guys went out, a few of you went out there to Arizona. It means a lot. To my board, where I'm at with this is, you're 290, and I'm sure we've had other expenses for moving the court down here. We got the cart in front of the horse because we don't have a clear plan of what we're gonna do. I don't think if we'd have left him out there in the lovely building in Flushing, I don't think you'd have spent the 290 on the building portion. Now, there might be some other costs we save somewhere here or there, but these are the things that when we change our plans along the way, this costs the residents of Genesee County because we don't have a clear and decisive plan of what we're doing. You know, and I guarantee the property would continue to increase in value out there if we did continue to hold it, you know, if we would have left them out there. So I just think we really need to get on this no matter what you do with this, we really need to get on and figure out what we're doing with that building before more and more of these expenses come up, because between, you know, the 2 there, that's $600,000 you've just put into that building that you don't plan on staying in if you don't. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep. Any further discussion? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion carries. Thank you. No other business before the committee?
Oh, there is one other piece. We have a new grandpa in the house. If you'd like to tell us his granddaughter's name, that would be fantastic, and we can celebrate that with him.
Yeah, I do have a new little granddaughter,
Oh.
little Marilyn May. She was born on the 31st to my son Jordan. We're very excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
I know you will, though, so it's gonna be okay. Congratulations.
We
Josh.
stand adjourned, 9:28.
Thank you.